Don't forget to subscribe to all channels. Law Nation, Silver Blue Nation, Dallas Cowboys Network. About to get this show started.
Are you ready for an unforgettable experience? Get ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's get hype.
Oh, yeah. What's going on, Cowboys Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Late Night Hype. We got a very special guest in the building, Big Duke. The O-line Masterminds joins us to get inside the minds of some of the best offensive linemen in the game. Are you ready, Nation? Let's go. What's going on, Big Duke? Hey, before you answer that, where did you get Duke from? Big Duke.
Don't ask him that. We being PG here.
Y'all tripping, man.
No, I mean, honestly, it's been a nickname I've had ever since probably my freshman year in high school. My family kind of started calling me the Duke. You know, just because my real name is Dwayne. Mm-hmm. It's so kind of like John Wayne, the Duke, yada, yada, yada. And so I didn't think anything of it. Then when I got to high school, my high school freshman O-line coach, it was the head coach, started calling me the Duke. Well, and he didn't even know. It just naturally stuck. So I think with the combination of the two, it's kind of been my nickname now since I was probably in 7th, 8th grade, and then it officially stuck when I was in 9th grade for sure.
Well, for what it's worth, I think Duke and Deuce are some of the dopest nicknames there is. So with that said, what's up, Law Nation? What's up, Big Game James?
Yeah, man.
What's good, man?
Yes, indeed.
Outside
of law, you know the law, that name, that nickname there, that goes hard in the paint.
I don't know, Big Game James go real hard.
Get out of here, man.
Oh, wow. Hey, Duke, for those that may not know who you are, can you give them a brief description of what you do and why, in my opinion, you're becoming a prominent name amongst the O-linemen?
Yeah, so within the structure of like my business, I've got really 3 different things in which I'm able to provide in terms of services. The first one is just, let me back up some. What I do is kind of a holistic approach to scouting and developing offensive linemen.
Okay.
Let's just throw that out there right now. And so with me, it all starts with the evaluation of talent and the aggregation of information. And from there, what I do is I try to make sure that any and everything that I do when I'm evaluating an offensive lineman is very detailed. And that's whether I'm going to work with him or not. Just if I'm providing an evaluation tool or, a solid evaluation and plan for development for a team or something like that, I'm going to try to watch every snap that the guy has played. Most people will watch anywhere between 3 to 5 games. I want to make sure that I've got it right. And so I don't mind watching 2 to 3 seasons of a guy.
Wow.
But so what I do is I'll go in and I'll evaluate offensive linemen. Of course, the other part of my business is training and developing offensive linemen. And that's from a strength and conditioning aspect. That is from a skill and tactical aspect. And then also the mental development aspect, which I work very closely with sports performance psychologist Gary Frazier, and part of his deal is the process mastermind. He's worked with Dr. Michael Gervais, who is the head performance psychologist with the Seattle Seahawks. So I'm very fortunate to work very closely with Gary, not only with my players, but for me personally, as I still compete in competitive powerlifting. So we've got the evaluation aspect, and then we've got the training aspect. Again, strength and conditioning, skill work, tactical, mental. And then we've got the O-line masterminds aspect. So with the O-line masterminds, which we'll get into, but essentially it's the ultimate professional development for NFL offensive linemen. And this year, of course, we opened it up to college players and coaches. So between those three umbrellas of the strength training, the tactical and all that type of stuff, the strength, the evaluations, it's just really a holistic approach to offensive line development. And then within there, of course, we've got, the stuff I do with the Nike camps, at the high school level. And then you've got the combine training, which is our 10-week program in which we train some of the top athletes making that transition from the college to the pro game. So within that, there's a lot that goes along with it, but I'm offensive line year round.
Okay. Go ahead, James.
Oh, I mean, that was a mouthful, Big Duke. You know what I'm saying? You doing like 72 jobs. You sound like Law Nation over here. You know what I'm saying? Got like all kind of aspects. You know what I mean? Hey, but am I allowed to just dive right into this, or I gotta go in the shallow water? Can I just jump in the deep end?
Hey, jump in. Start
Okay,
show.
I want to jump right.
It's your world.
I'm jumping right in the deep end. Now, you said you trained Connor Williams, correct, sir?
Yeah, so I trained Connor as he finished up the combine. We spent time training and working together in between the combine and his pro day and his official visits.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you a question. Since you did train him, and I know it's a history because I listened to you on the Boys and Girls podcast, or Girls and Boys, I'm sorry if I said it wrong, with Bobby Bell, James Slater. I watched you. Great interview, by the way, that you did. And you were saying some things about he had different offensive linemen, coaches, and that made a difference. I just want to ask you right now, he's playing guard here with the Dallas Cowboys. People have been frustrated because he had to put on the weight. Actually, this is his best year statistically, him being with the Cowboys in his third year, but people still get frustrated saying gets moved around in the inside. Does he have the strength? From what you trained with him, is he a better guard or is he a better tackle? The truth.
I definitely think it's he's a better guard. The thing that people have to factor in when they're talking about Connor is a couple of different things that you kind of touched on. One, when he was at Texas, he was a tackle, and probably his final 3 years, he had 3 different offensive line coaches at Texas. Then you look at how he got hurt, came back, played a little bit at the end of the year, then came to the Cowboys. Since he's been at the Cowboys, he's been hurt. I think he's had 2 knee injuries.
Yes.
And then he's also had 3 O-line coaches. He's also had 3 O-line coaches. So when you factor all that in, Connor has not had the smoothest transition, not only into the NFL, but playing guard. And so when you're factoring in a guy playing a new position and learning a new position, he's learning from 3 different O-line coaches in the league, plus he's not getting that off-season work time where he's developing. He's rehabbing to get back. There's a big difference. I don't think people understand when these guys deal with injuries, what that means. Oftentimes, when guys deal with injuries that are season-ending, especially at the beginning of the year, they go into a dark place simply because, and I'm not saying that Connor did because I'm not sure, but what I'm saying is you're isolated. You don't do the rest of the stuff that the team does. Your assignment is rehab, get better, train to the best part of your capacity in terms of physically, and then you go home. You're done for the day. So you're not sitting in those meetings. You're not looking at those reps for playing. Your assignment is 3 to 4, sometimes 4 to 5 hours a day of rehab. So when you factor in Connor having a couple of injuries and his season has gone that way, he's missed valuable time for development, especially when you factor in he's had different coaches. So as we see, Connor has started to look better at guard. And I think the reason for that is, one, he's healthy. Two, he's probably getting a little bit of continuity in the actual position without having to focus on, am I hurt? Can I do this? And I'm not sure about Joe Philbin in terms as a coach, but what I can tell you though is that, you start to figure things out around year 3. When you look at the track record for development at any level, high school is 4 years of development. You have 4 years to develop. In college, some guys go 3 and done, but it's typically 4 and sometimes 5 years of development. Even when you look at the Olympic cycle, it's 4 years of development. The Summer Olympics come around every 4 years. We do this thing in the NFL where we scout a guy based upon physical traits and what he can be and his potential. And then all of a sudden we think that since a guy could be good after 4 years, that the 3 months from the combine to training camp, he's just going to automatically show up and that potential is going to be realized. What people don't know is that a lot of times moving from college to the NFL, especially at offensive line, the coaching isn't always better. And many times it's actually a lot worse.
That's deep right there.
All right?
That's deep. Yeah.
So I'm gonna leave that there because there's some coaches that have been in that Cowboys building as offensive line coaches that are trash. I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
I need honesty.
That. So
That's what we real here. Real.
So when you factor that in, you're starting to see development in Connor because again, he's starting to settle in at a position that's been new for him. He's healthy, and maybe this coach in Philbin is putting things to him that he can grasp and he relates to. But I still think Connor's best football is ahead of him. I think he is a guard. I think another off season of solid training wherever he decides to train at, he still has that potential to be realized. And I wouldn't give up on him yet. I mean, it's very clear that across the board the past 3 years, one thing is for sure, the Cowboys O-line has regressed a little bit, whether it be with injuries, whether it be with just lack of continuity with guys being in the lineup. You look at a guy like, to me, when I look at the Cowboys O-line, it started to have chinks in the armor when Ron Leary went to Denver. And slowly you start now. Yeah. and then you start to slowly see 77 start to deteriorate a little bit because of health. And then, with Travis not being in there, that's a big loss. And then all of a sudden, Doug Free retires. LC kicks over to right tackle, takes him a year to settle in. Then he starts to look like a top right tackle, but then can't go this year.
Right.
Zach Martin is Zach Martin. Zach Martin's a first ballot Hall of Fame. But I say all that to say this: I think a lot of times Cowboys fans have gotten completely spoiled with how good
I was going to
O-line
ask you that
has been. So
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, man. You have potentially. At one point, there were 3 guys that you can consider Hall of Famers on that O-line playing at the same time. Plain and simple.
I mean, you're speaking the truth on that.
When you lose that, it's difficult to overcome, man.
You mentioned coaching, and I want to know if you are I know you're familiar with, but are you know more about Bill Callahan? Because we felt like here in Dallas,
Absolutely.
He was our best guy we've had maybe in the last 25 years, and it showed. You mentioned how coaching is important, and it's not always better in the pros and in college. And you bring up a good point. We had a former offensive line coach who did some weird catch-up drill or something like that, and the offensive line was terrible. But can you kind of give us a little bit of insight on Bill Callahan and why he's missed right now?
Yeah, well, Bill Callahan is arguably the best offensive line coach in the game. Any and everywhere he's been, he's turned in a great offensive lineman. He's developed them. He's developed that unit really well. And the cool thing about Callahan is that you can see his track record. You see what he's doing with Cleveland right now. You remember at one point when Washington was rolling, that O-line was beating the hell out of people. I mean, because the Cowboys were on the receiving end of some of those. Now, when you lose a guy like Bill Callahan, not only do you lose the development aspect, but no matter where Callahan goes, you lean on Bill to kind of pick the groceries, because he typically, anywhere he's been, has a say on what O-lineman he wants to bring in. And so when you get a mind like that, that is not only picking the groceries and saying, okay, I'm going to pick these ingredients with this, and then I'm going to cook with it. Typically, it's a recipe for success. And that's what you're kind of seeing with what he's done in Washington and in Cleveland with some of these guys. But losing that out of the Cowboys building with those type of players was definitely a big blow. But with that being said, you know, you definitely had Frank come in, and Frank Pollock was still a guy that was a hard-nosed coach and taught just as or similar to as Bill Callahan, and still had great success with that Cowboys O-line because it was kind of reassuring to some of the fundamentals and the technique that those guys were used to when they were rolling. Frank leaves out of the building. They hired Paul Alexander, which was a mistake. Paul, I'm not going to even go there, but it was a big mistake.
That's the one I'm talking about.
You can go there. You can say it. We all know it was
guy.
a damn mistake. You ain't got to sugarcoat that. He was goofy as hell when they hired him. When he was being all nice and goofy.
Yeah, I mean, it was just regardless. I mean, there's certain rooms Paul would probably have success in, but that Cowboys room is not one of them. Period. Not in the condition there. And then Colombo came back in, returned some type of continuity and some type of familiarity with that unit. I think you saw a little bit of that. But then they decided, you know, staff
you like
moved
Colombo?
on. They brought in Joe
You like
Philbin.
Colombo, Duke? Did you like Colombo, Duke?
I like Colombo.
Me too.
I like Colombo.
Yeah.
They should have got rid of him.
Colombo, yeah, to stay
They
for
should have
another
kept
year.
Colombo.
And I think you're starting to see, you know, everybody was on the Giants really early with Andrew Thomas not playing well, but you're starting to see that O-line come together a little bit. See, what people don't understand, though, is when you don't have that off-season program and those OTA reps and all that type of stuff, and you got a new staff, you got new young players, that is a huge issue because offensive line, you need reps. You definitely need those reps, and you need that continuity. You need to be able to have that communication established. And sometimes that communication isn't even verbal. It's just a look or a grunt or a bump or something like that kind of you communicate through timing a lot of times and through catchphrases and, you know, one-liners. Just that communication is so huge when you're talking about offensive linemen and, you know, getting the job done. But I like Colombo. I think you're starting to see he's doing a pretty darn banged up and good job up in New York. I don't know a great deal about Philbin as a coach. I know of him, so I can't really speak on him.
Well, I know one thing. Philbin, he kind of vouches for Terence Steele, and I know you probably heard of Terence Steele or what have you for the Dallas Cowboys on how he giving up a lot of pressure. And I do know that when you're talking about offensive line, yes, it could be those 1 or 2 plays out of a series of 60, but those 1 or 2 plays can be crucial. This kid is giving up a lot of pressure. So from your evaluation of offensive tackles or offensive linemen, what do you primarily look for? Is it good feet? Is it good kick out of the stance? Is it their adjustments to counterattacks? What do you primarily look for? Narrow base, wide base? What do you judge when you see a tackle or lineman?
Well, we want to always start from the ground up. So we're going to look at the base. We're going to look at, you know, does he have a functional stance? You know, what does his ankle mobility look like? You know, what does the hip mobility look at? And then we're going to look at how efficient his feet are. I don't give a damn how quick your feet are because you can have quick feet and go nowhere. If they're not putting you in position, shit doesn't matter. You got to have efficient feet. Efficient feet are going to allow you to have effective hands. If you can win the block with your feet first, there's a couple of things that are going to happen. You're going to be in that position to be able to strike, whether you use independent hands, 2 hands, or you clap. All right. And then also, if you win the block with your feet, it's going to put you in a better situation and a better chance to recover. What makes Zach Martin elite is that he is an elite recoverer. All right. When you go and look at his battles against Fletcher Cox, there's times where Fletch will have him off the first and second step. And it looks like if you slow it down, Zach is going to get beat. Then all of a sudden, Zach is able to recover, re-leverage his hips and hands, and he's won it. All right. So when you start to factor those things in, it all starts from the ground up. Feet, base, and then in terms of physical traits, of course, guys are going to be enamored with, or teams are going to be enamored with guys with great length, To me, I don't care if a guy is 6'6" and has 37.5-inch arms, but can't block a troll on Twitter. I don't want him. I mean, like you have to be able to use your hands efficient and effectively. All right. I've seen guys with 33-inch arms, 32-inch arms that are deadly with using their hands and their hand usage and just how strong they are. All right. When you get a guy that has long arms and can use their hands like Tyron, then you got something special. But the fact of the matter is it all starts from the ground up. If you don't have a guy with efficient feet, it's difficult to teach that efficient feet. And most of the time, I would say 99% of the time, he's going to be out of position to even use his hands.
Yeah, so is that the problem? Because is that what they doing to Terrence? They're getting him to turn his shoulder, to reach or launch. What is the issue with him?
Not at all. I think what you're seeing with Terrence is, for one thing, what round was Terrence drafted?
Wasn't.
Exactly.
Wasn't.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly. There's a reason why he went undrafted.
So at Texas Tech, you saw a guy with physical traits with not many critical factors. So physical traits are the things that you can see. All right.
Right.
The physical traits are the things that you can see. Okay, he's 6'5.5". He's got long arms. He runs and bends well. That's great. All right. But now let's look at the critical factors. All right. The efficient feet, the strike zone, the strike timing. Is his ability to recover, the anti-rotation. If he gets his shoulder turned, is he able to square a guy back up? Those are all things in terms of offensive line play that I look for that are always transferable to Sundays. So Terrence didn't have that. That being said, Terrence is going to be a good football player because he has the efficient feet, and you're starting to see him have the timing with his hands. The thing that Terrence doesn't have is that absolute strength yet, and that he's got to come up with a plan in terms of getting to his spot, making the stands, and then what is he going to do with his hands? All right. Early on in the season, especially against Myles Garrett, he went to a two-hand strike every time. And what was ended up happening was if he would stay square with a two-hand strike, all Myles was doing was pinning his hands and then working them to the inside. If he got to his spot and then tried to punch out with the two-hand strike, all Myles was doing was swiping him and then dipping and ripping underneath him. So once Terrence figures out, all right, my feet are efficient enough to put me in position, now I have to have a plan with my hands, he's going to be even better. But I think one off season of Terrence getting stronger, you guys got to realize, people are judging this guy as if he was drafted to be the guy. LC is supposed to be playing right now.
I was about to say, that's so crazy you said that, because he's only in because we had 3 tackles go down. 3 tackles. That's
exactly.
You don't plan on playing your 4th tackle for 16 games.
Right.
No, people live in this fantasy world like tackles grow on, offensive linemen grow on trees. Here's the thing: most NFL teams do not have the luxury of 6 to 7 good offensive linemen. Most NFL teams normally have 4 to 5 really good offensive linemen, and then guys you win with, or guys you can win with but don't win because of. The Cowboys have been used to having 5 guys across the line that you win because of. When you look at, again, when Tyron was playing, when you look at Leary, when you look at Frederick, when you look at even Doug Free and Zach Martin, you won because of those guys, Yeah. And then you put in the LC, you won because of those guys. So when you look at that, it's a world of a difference. And teams don't have that luxury, let alone backups to come in and say, oh, okay, this guy's a backup. He's filling in for an all-pro. Why is he not getting the job done? He's a backup for a reason, So I think when we start to recondition how we think about O-line play, one, and then backup O-lineman, it's a world of a difference in terms of being, really conscious of what to expect.
I love that he said we have to recondition how we think about offensive linemen. That's very true. As a fan, and we are fans first, even though we cover the team and try to bring the facts and everything to the organization. We're fans, but as a fan, especially a Cowboy fan, we get very impatient, right? And like you said, we've been spoiled with amazing offensive line play. So the minute we see some of these guys, struggle, we're ready to go. You know, you got Connor Williams has been on the out since year 1 for most Cowboy fans, and the same thing is happening with Terence Steele. Now, we saw year 3, Connor Williams is improving. You know, I know he got pushed back by Cam Hayward against the Steelers, guys. I do know. But Connor Williams hasn't been your problem this year. We know that, right? We know the problem was on the right tackle where the guy is undrafted. So Connor's getting better. Maybe Steele will get better later on down the line. But the plan isn't to play Steele right now. We wanted LC or Irving.
Well, I'm going to say this. I'm an offensive
Yeah,
line
and I mean,
coach, Duke.
Go ahead, Duke.
No, go ahead, Duke.
I was going to say, and, you know, since Irvin has been back from injury, he's looked pretty darn good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, he's had moments or whatever, but I mean, Irving is a guy that's played a lot of football, and he's settled into that position, and he's going to give you the best he has, and it's good enough. It's good enough at this point. You know, he's not going to be tiring. Teams don't expect him to be tiring, but the reason why he keeps a job is because he can get out there and play.
I got a couple questions.
Go ahead, James. My bad.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, what was your scouting report on Connor McGovern? The guy, I think that he came in the Washington game, and he played pretty solid. Didn't give up no pressures nor sacks. So what is your scouting report on him?
You know, interesting. Connor is interesting because coming out of Penn State, I thought he was average. You know, I didn't think he was a world beater. I thought he possessed the critical factors, not many physical traits that you like to see, which I don't care. I'm more of a critical factor, technique, fundamental foundation guy. But quite frankly, I didn't know what to expect from him because we hadn't seen him in 3 years, really. And so I didn't know what to expect when he came in at Washington. I thought he was serviceable. I thought he did a decent job. But he's not a guy that's going to be a world beater that you think is going to crack your lineup. I mean, plain and simple. With that being said, I've been very impressed, and I think his best football is ahead of him. Tyler Biotish is going to be a good one. Wow. Biotish is going to be a really, really good player. You know, he had that hip injury last year, hip surgery. I think you need another full year of, you know, just corrective rehab, strength training, and then just, you know, redefining and re-ingraining fundamentals. And I think that you're going to have another solid Wisconsin center to hold down the Cowboys point for a long time.
Yeah, that's music to our ears.
Okay.
Man.
Well,
yeah.
I got a question. Here's my question then. So you said basically Connor McGovern basically doesn't have a future in Dallas. Is that what you're telling me?
That's not what I said. I said,
I'm asking,
is he going to be a starter?
Right, because I'm asking because you got Connor Williams at left guard, right? And you said you feel like his best football is ahead of him. You're saying Connor Williams, he just looked average, and even though he played pretty good in that Washington game, I'm sorry, Connor McGovern. So do you think that he's just going to be a backup the whole time, and then that's just the spot that's Connor Williams, and we should just look at that? That's the question I'm asking. Is he a career backup in your eyes?
I'm going to answer a question with a question. All right.
All right.
Connor has been hurt. Connor Williams has been hurt. Connor McGovern has been on the roster. When Connor McGovern returned from injury the past 2 years, was he able to push for a starting position?
No. But I'm saying is this. He missed all of last year, right? And this is really considered his rookie year. All right. He hasn't been able to crack the lineup because they penciled him in as left guard. Connor Williams is their guy. So I didn't feel like he would get those reps. But when Connor Williams went out or he played that guard position, I thought he played adequately. But you're the guru. I'm just asking you, when you said he was average at Penn State, I'm thinking like, is he ever going to be able to crack that lineup? Because you got Connor Williams established at left guard. Is he going to be the career backup, and he's not going to be able to challenge Connor Williams, in your opinion?
I think if Connor Williams continues to get better and show improvement what we saw this year, I don't think he's going to beat him out. Okay. And so, but you bring up a great point with this is technically Connor McGovern's like really rookie season. So again, I'm not ready to give up and say that he's a wash. We can't give up on guys after a year or two, especially when they're dealing with injury. It's the same conversation we just had about Connor Williams. Right. You know, Connor Williams has been able to play football, but he's played with and has dealt with some serious knee injuries, you know? So we have to factor that in as well. But Connor McGovern is still I think, a couple of years away from being a long-term starter or even contending for a starting position.
I think the coaching staff kind of tells us what they feel about Connor McGovern when Zach Martin has to slide out the right tackle, and they put in another guy, instead of Connor McGovern. And then who was the backup center, guys? Joe Looney. Joe Looney comes back.
Yeah.
He's the guy. So they're just overlooking McGovern right now. And I shouldn't say overlooking, but maybe he's just not ready for full-time duty. I will say this, though. When he has gotten in the game, he's been serviceable. So that's something that to be happy about moving forward with the guy.
Duke, if I'm the Cowboys, I'm doing everything in my power. I'm doing everything in my power to re-sign Joe Looney at the end of the year so I can keep him on this roster. And as well as, what are your thoughts on Brandon Knight? Because I thought that he really stood up, and that's big game James guy as well. I think that I think he could be a starter in this league.
Give me Brandon Knight in a dark alley. He nice. I like it.
In the future.
I think in the future he could be a starter, kind of in that same trajectory. If you remember, I'm gonna throw a Cowboys name out to you guys. That was a backup. Then he got a year where he started a full year and then a half a year. Jeremy Parnell.
Parnell.
Parnell in the same mode.
Over there, the Jags went over to the Jags.
Yeah, JP was kind of in that same mode where when he got into games early, you saw it. And then you wouldn't see him for, a couple of weeks. And then all of a sudden the injury come in and he got a little better and a little better and a little better. And then got a little stronger. And then the next thing you know, you're like, damn, our backup tackle is a starter in this league. And then he gets paid. So I think you can see that same maturation with Brandon Knight. Because I tell you what, I liked what I saw from Brandon Knight in the run game and in pass pro. It was unfortunate that, and I'm going to tell you something else. Yeah. When he got hurt, when he got rolled up, I saw when it happened, it was like midway through the fourth quarter. I didn't think anything of it because he hopped his ass up and kept playing. Mm-hmm. The next thing you know, right after the game, they're like, oh, he's going to be out, 8 weeks, MCL. And it was evident that he should have been hurt with the impact in which he got rolled up on. But just his toughness to come back in the game and finish playing, I think it tells you a lot about who he is.
I liken Brandon Knight as our future swing tackle, honestly. And then you hope that maybe he can develop into a Jeremy Parnell whenever Tyron Smith is ready to hang him up. So, and everybody wants to draft a tackle, which I get. If you're at 3 and we could talk about that here soon. The left tackle from Oregon, Sewell, then yes, I get that. But Brandon Knight, let's see what he has here, man. Because if you don't have to do that and you can get by with Brandon Knight at left or right tackle, then let's do it. 3 years down the road.
Let me ask you a quick question, Duke. Just bringing up Brandon Knight. I like Brandon Knight since he came into the program. I said he was going to be the swing tackle last year. I totally agree with you. I've been saying everything that you were saying with Terence Steele, that the traits were there, and I think that's why the Cowboys were excited, because the length, the strength, the long arms, the prototypical size. But you could tell when you first looked at him, he had to get stronger. You could just tell he had to get stronger, and he was green. So now you got a Brandon Knight who's coming back. So I think you can have Terence Steele and Brandon Knight as your swing tackles, and you can feel good about that. But my question is this: if you have Brandon Knight coming back from injury, you have Terence Steele who's still starting. Brandon Knight has proved he can swing left, he can swing right. Would you go to Brandon Knight to settle down the offense? Because in my opinion, you're not hurting a Terence Steele's mind, because you're saying, hey, we like your potential. We're gonna go with this and let Terence Steele continue maybe to learn a little bit. Yeah. But would you go back to Brandon Knight as the starting right tackle and sit Steele down?
Me, just off the cuff, yeah, I would say, Brandon Knight proved to be, a functional player, and I think you like what you got in Cam Irving right now. You keep Cam at left, and then you put Brandon Knight at right tackle. That being said, you got to there's a couple of things that you got to evaluate in terms of when he's ready to come back. Is he going to be able to play with confidence? Is he going to be able to move the way he did? Is he going to be limited in terms of the pitch count? Because those were all leaning towards staying with Steele. Because the last thing that you want to do is shake up the lineup and put Brandon Knight out there, and then he's not able to go after a couple of series, then you bring Steele back in. It's a recipe for disaster. Great question. I would say the coach in me, I'm sticking with Steele. I'm saying the guy that's looking at best player right now, I'm saying I would put Brandon Knight if he's available and ready to go out there. With that being said, though, I still think that, you're going to still continue to see flashes from Steele. And again, he's just got to continue to develop.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate that answer. Because I'm totally feeling you. And I think that's what the staff, because even Mike McCarthy said, we want to keep continuity across the line. So I think that's why you're still going to see
it's
Steele.
Important for O-line.
Yeah. And unless Steele gets hurt, then that's when you probably might see a Brandon Knight slip in, because they're going to probably try to roll with Steele all the way to the end.
I am very interested though, because
go ahead,
dude.
I was gonna say again, we have to remember here that Steele essentially was going to be the third and fourth option at tackle. Okay, like Steele wasn't a high draft pick. He was not drafted at all. Nobody, if we were talking about this time last year, nobody would have said Terence Steele is taking 95% of the snaps of the Cowboys this year. Let's keep that in mind. So people keep asking about what about Steele? What about Steele? He's not your starting right tackle. It's LC. When LC comes back, LC will be fine. And we won't be having this conversation. We're living in the moment because that's who's out there right now. But it's not the kid's fault that he's not ready to play right now. There's a reason why he didn't get drafted. And then there's a reason why he was a backup, plain and simple. And I think the first week, it was talks about him being on the P squad. And then when they realized that, maybe they were having some issues with tackle, he ended up getting the nod to end up coming in and start.
No. Well, let me ask one last question, and I'm gonna be chill, fellas. I'm sorry.
No,
why did they? In my opinion, then why did they have? See, here's my question with Philbin. You said you didn't know him, and I get you, and that's why I was frustrated with Mark Colombo leaving. I think Mark Colombo would have still been good for this offensive line and still made it tough and nasty. He had that nasty, but they had Brandon Knight at left guard. That just disappointed me. I'm like, what has Phil been doing? Like, you had him at left guard. He proved last year as a undrafted rookie, he was solid at tackle. Leo Collins went out at tackle. Tyron Smith went out at tackle. He proved that position he was good at. Why did you have him at left guard and you're putting Steele out there? When he proved last year he could play the tackle position, you went with Steele from game one. You just said, Duke, and I trust everything you say, that he was not ready. You had a guy last year who proved that he could play in strong games. So why did you have him at left guard and then all of a sudden now, let's put him at tackle? That's the thing that frustrated me, Duke, in all of this.
Yeah, you know what? And I don't have an answer for that. Like I said, I don't know Philbin. I don't really know his philosophy too much. So I'm not really sure what the thought process was behind that. In terms of staying with Colombo, there was some major changes that happened within the Cowboys organization in terms of coaching staff. And so oftentimes when that happens, especially from an offensive standpoint, when the offensive staff goes, it really is up to that OC. And if the OC has some pull, who the O-line coach is going to be. So I'm not sure. Maybe it was a point where, Colombo, they talked to Colombo about coming back. Maybe they didn't. Maybe when, JG left, he knew that, when he got the New York job, that Colombo was going to be his old line coach. So I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff behind the scene that we may not be privy to. But, I can't, like I said, I can't really speak on Philbin and his reasoning for certain things because I don't really know him.
But see, hold on real quick. Hold on. Here's why I push back on the Philbin slander. I do this with James because the nation is holding on to that one thing with Philbin, starting Brandon Knight over Terence Steele. We totally it's fair, but he lost center 1, center 2, tackle 1, 2, 3, 4, and offensive guard 1, and he's got guys like Irving, who we hated, is looking good. Your 4th round pick in center, hardest position to play, right? That's what we talked about. One of the smartest positions on the field. He's got his rookie center playing good. Connor McGovern, when he comes in, he looks pretty good. Connor Williams, who we maligned for the last few years, is improving. Brandon Knight has improved, right? All these players aren't terrible players. The offensive line collectively has not been that good because, like you said, continuity. But if you actually really look into it, Philbin has gotten some decent play out of these guys individually. Maybe not collectively because they keep mixing and matching, and you know it, dude. You need that continuity. We're not afforded that this year. So I got to give Philbin actually a pat on the back because he's working with a mash unit. And aside from Terence Steele, we're seeing some solid improvements across the board. Am I wrong here?
You straight,
man.
man.
I can say a little pushback on that, but I ain't gonna do that.
What do when Duke goes? Go ahead, Law.
Man, well, the guy gonna have to get a mulligan for this year. It's just how it goes, man. We will see next year when he get a full off season, and there will be no bevy of excuses because then we have to look at it and say, okay, all right, this is his philosophy now. Do you agree, Duke?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation to lose everything that he lost and still put a functional unit out there. It goes back to what I said. Offensive linemen don't grow on trees. It's one thing to have 5 really good ones, and then when those 5 or 4 of those 5 are taken away, or 3 of those 5 are taken away, you don't just plug in new good players. I mean, you got to kind of go with what's available and whatever the hell you can roll with. Plain and simple.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just the reality of it. What the offensive line is the only unit that everybody got to be on the same page. You can have one bad wide receiver, and on the front 4 of the defensive side, you can have a bad interior guy, and the whole unit would not look like that. But an offensive lineman, if you have a bad center or if you have a bad tackle, that whole offensive line, people gonna be like, "Hey, that's trash, man! That's trash offensive line." I'm gonna ask you this though, and this is a storyline that a lot of people like to bring up. What comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? What comes first, the running back ability to run or the offensive line? Can you break that down for everybody?
Oh, man. So
Tell the truth.
It's very simple. Like it's very simple. Without the O-line, I mean, without the O-line, running back is not going to have success. Plain and simple. Right. But there's some things. So the O-line comes first. You got to have an O-line to be able to establish the run game. Now, sustaining the run game and breaking off long runs and committing to certain things, it's a conscious effort and a group effort from running backs to tight ends and even O-linemen. Reason being is when you start to look at some of those long runs, yes, O-linemen are taking care of the point of attack, but then some of those long runs are dependent upon backs being able to set up different looks, read hats, and then being able to escape into the second level and allowing their linemen to get there to the second level to be able to execute those blocks on the second level. When you look at things and runs, like if you're in, 11 personnel or 12 personnel, it's very key for a tight end to be able to collect or get a backside cutoff or work with the tackle on a tray block to that backside backer. If you don't get that, you got a free runner. So when you look at initially, yes, it's the O-line, that needs to be able to take care of the run game, but a sustained running game and being able to break those long runs and be able to take people's will, it's a group effort between O-line, tight ends, and then running back setting up blocks and being able to dip in, dip out, hit the hole, and get into the second level. It's a whole premise. And then furthermore, when you start to look at that too, when that O-line and running back combo can start doing those type of things, then you're able to set up play action pass and run action fits and then beat guys over the top. And I think in past years when we've seen Dallas had great success, we've seen that O-line be dominant. We've seen Zeke do a great job of setting up blocks and then being able to run through contact through the second level. And then all of a sudden you're able to beat guys over the top, So again, great question. And the chicken or the egg question, O-line first, but then for sustainability, it's a group effort.
No doubt.
Ezekiel Elliott, you listening?
I got a rebuttal.
Go ahead.
So, hey, Big Duke. Okay, so here's my thing. the offensive line. You said the offensive line definitely first, and I already know the game is won in the trenches. You don't got an offensive line, you don't got a defensive line, you ain't winning games. That's just a fact. So here's my thing, and this is no disrespect, but if you're paying a running back, right, high dollar, one of the top paid running back, I'm just talking. That's all I'm doing. You paying a running back high dollar, right? And shouldn't he be able to overcome because you said instinct and be able to press the hole and see certain things, because sometimes the block may not always be there and that running back can make plays when the block is not there. I've seen it from plenty of running backs doing it. If the running back is not doing that, then why would you want to pay, and I'm not dissing, but why would you pay the running back that kind of money if it's only contingent, if it's contingent on that O-line? You understand what I'm saying? Because didn't you think if you're paying a running back that top dollar, he should be able to overcome certain things that the O-line is not doing? What do you think?
Yeah, but those situations weren't exposed beforehand because all you saw were the continuity up front and then those blocks being set up, Zeke being able to read hats, dip in, dip out, be elusive because of that O-line that was in front of him, you know? Now, had Zeke come into a contract year with an O-line this year, he probably doesn't make what he makes, you know? So, I mean, it's easy on the back half to look and say, yeah, but what about this? But the fact of the matter is that knowledge wasn't available to us 2 years ago when Zeke got his deal. You know what I'm saying? I do think, though, that there's other intangibles that I've seen that just, I mean, like, for instance, ball security. That's not an O-line thing. That's a running back thing. You know, you got to take care of the ball. Also think stand on your feet and missing stuff like that. I mean, that's a running back thing in terms of vision, just overall balance. And it could be that he's not familiar with where the hats are going to be and the timing of the blocks is setting up and stuff like that, because all of that stuff is timing. And I think a lot of that goes back to a couple of different things. The OTAs and off-season program, finding that timing, finding that groove, and then also just a whole new group in here, you know? So in hindsight, yes, okay, we would like our big money guy to be able to do some things, but you can't make salad out of chicken shit. I mean, it's just it's not. I mean, the entire offense right now, in terms of the front five, is in flux. You know, you don't have your quarterback. It's just, come on now. Like, there's so many things that are stacked against you. I mean, like, Zeke could be better though, 100%. Yeah, 100%. He could be better, but it's not like he's doing it. If we were seeing this out of Zeke and he had resemblance of his starting line, and with that, it would be a problem. We'd be like, oh shit, you know? Like, but I mean, what's around him right now?
It's kind of hard to judge Zeke this year because of the mash unit up front and the quarterback situation. All you can really judge him on is, you know, how he looks once he gets past the craziness up front. And that's tough because against the Steelers, that barely was happening. So on one hand, yes, you can't sit here and blame Zeke. The blame, in my opinion, comes at the staff for paying a running back 2 years prior, but that's an entirely different story. If we're talking about the actual play, Zeke's doing what he can do.
It's not his fault.
Not his fault, no.
Right.
Yeah, it ain't his fault.
he surely gonna get the money back.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm never hurting on a player getting his money. Never hating on a player getting his money. But we're just talking about I'm just talking about the big scheme of things. If you're figuring like you can run a team, like if you have a Dak Prescott now who's taken up to elite status, I feel like when he first came in the league, he needed an Ezekiel Elliott because he was still finding his way.
Sure.
Now, just in my opinion, Dak is elite. And now he doesn't need an Ezekiel Elliott, and that's no shade on Zeke, and that's not disrespecting Zeke. I just feel like he can have a regular back and still do those things. Just my opinion.
Ooh, spicy.
And we can still win.
Maybe.
It is a maybe. Yeah. Hey, let me get over here to this draft over here, man.
Before we get
that tape on Pina Sewell. I think that's how you say the name. If with the third pick or the fourth pick. Panay. Okay, my bad. I murdered the guy's name. But would you pick him up if you have the 3rd or the 4th overall draft pick? Would you pick him up for the Dallas Cowboys?
I think that really goes into the evaluation of what is Tyron Smith's status going to be. You know, if you get a clean bill of health and prognosis that he's good to go, this surgery corrected any and everything that he needed. The doctors say he could play as long as he wants to play at this point, then I think you got to look to do something else. But if his prognosis is, hey, we don't know, then you might want to take a hard, long look at getting a guy like Panay with that top pick. And here's something else that you guys might not know. Panay is being represented by Tyron Smith's agent, Joe Panos. So that'll be interesting there to see exactly how that plays out.
That's good info.
Is he more of a guard or a tackle on this next level?
Panay is definitely a tackle.
Definitely a tackle.
Definitely a tackle.
Let me ask you one question, Duke. When you're evaluating these guys coming from college or even working with them, well, let's just say coming out of college, what would you say, man, that guy's going to be a good offensive tackle? What's really the traits that really stand out to you to say that's going to be a good offensive lineman, whether it be tackle, guard, or, just some of the traits that kind of stand out to you? What do you really look at?
I think we already covered it. One of the things that I look at that are going to, or not one of the things, but a few of the things I look at, we kind of covered earlier, but it's just those transferable traits in terms of the efficient footwork, always being in position to win with the hands, being able to do a couple of different things with your hands, independent hand usage, that 2-hand strike, being able to create leverage with the hands, standing the guy up, redirecting force up, being able to anchor consistently without getting pushed too far back, being able to re-leverage, and that means being able to grab, redirect force back up, and then resync your hips underneath you. If a guy gets his shoulder pressed open, being able to rework hands and anti-rotate back into it, all that recovery stuff, all that stuff directly translates into Sunday's game. A lot of it you can't teach. A guy just has it or he doesn't. So when I see a guy do that consistently on Saturdays, I know he's got a good chance to be a really good pro. In the run game, when we're looking at tackles, we want to look at guys that can move the point of attack on that angle drive block or that push out block or that base block. We want to see guys that can reach and capture the end, with keeping their feet and hands all in sync. We want to see that backside cutoff, him being able to drive from the backside leg, open up that play side hip and really get across and cut off a 3 technique or even sometimes like a tight shade. We want to see him be able to climb to the second level, target and track guys at the second level and execute blocks. Those are all things that we look for that, again, are going to be that are going to easily translate to the game on Sunday. It's great to have those physical traits of a guy being athletic and showing great length, but if he's not doing those things consistently, then you got a bit more of a project than people think. So when I'm looking at Saturday's games, and I'm looking for transferable traits, it starts from the ground up and all the stuff we just talked about.
Appreciate you, man, on that one, man. That's some good stuff, man.
I hear a lot of good things about recovery. I think recovery is one of the biggest things that keep on hearing you saying. If a guy can really recover quick, that's an excellent trait that offensive linemen have. You might get beat on the initial hit, but if you can recover and still stand your ground and hold your ground, that's an excellent trait. So I'm going to you're just giving me knowledge for me to look at an offensive lineman. Hell, I don't know what the hell I'll be looking at sometimes. But
when you say that, James, and when you say that, Duke, about recovery, I think about Zach Martin. I feel like, and you can say this, Duke, I feel like he's one of the best in the entire league at recovery, because it's so crazy when you watch his tape. You can see him get beat, and you brought it up with Fletcher. Fletcher can get him initially, but he's so great at the recovery, you don't even realize unless you're studying that tape that he got beat. But Zach recovered very well.
Yes, indeed. And
I did an hour and 30 minute. I did an hour and 30 minute film breakdown of Zach Martin versus Fletcher Cox. Every snap that they played against each other from last year. And the resounding thing is, it was a heavyweight fight that end up being one-sided with Zach Martin winning almost every rep.
Jeez.
But it's in terms of the end result. But the means and the process for him winning every rep was a damn battle. You know.
Yeah, that's one of the fun matchups to watch every year in, year out. Is Zach Martin versus Fletcher Cox.
He don't lose a lot. Yeah, no, I was going to ask him outside of Panay, who else in this draft? I know it's midway through this season, but who we should take a look at in this draft as it relates to offensive tackle? Who do you have in mind on as a good guy out there?
Man, you know what? I like, there's a couple of different guys that I like. Panay is good, you know, but I like a guy that's one of my favorite is Rashawn Slater from Northwestern. Rashawn is 6'4", 310. Reminds me how he moves and plays like Teron Armstead. Just efficient mover, strong as hell, violent hands, can get on you real fast if he needs to, but has the range to run guys over the top. Probably the most impressive tape I've seen against Chase Young last year. So Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern is good. What was that?
I'm writing that down.
Writing it down because I had Alex,
right,
I had like a screenshot. Yeah, Alex Leatherwood and the Samuel kid from Texas.
We listen to everything you saying, Duke. Every dude you name, we watching.
Straight up.
Yeah. Another guy who to me is gonna be one of the top guys in the draft is gonna be Christian Dirisaw from Virginia Tech. To me, I think more and more that I watch Christian, when you see that big 77 on tape for Virginia Tech, you see a guy that's got a lot of traits. He's got a lot of critical factors, and he's got some nastiness to him. I think he's going to be a good player. I think he's going to go higher than people think.
Christian Dirisaw. I put a name in the comment box for y'all to see, man, so y'all can Google.
We need nasty,
because it's
you
about,
feel me, Duke?
It's draft time for Cowboys, Duke.
It's draft time for us, and we need nasty on that line.
Well, I told everybody last year when I got Mekhi Becton what type of player he was going to be, and everybody picked him apart. They told me, he was fat, he was this. I said, all right. I said, I'm telling y'all, when this guy comes out, he's going to be something like you guys never saw before. And I think people are starting to see that now. All of a sudden, people are starting to have the flu when they play against him. They're starting to have forward hamstrings because they don't want to be on this damn highlight tape.
He is so big.
He's a huge dude, Duke.
Yeah.
He's like 7 foot.
He the dude you make on Madden. You say, I'm just going to make a 7 foot, 400-pound lineman.
Man, it's a big boy, man.
Let me tell you, 6'8", 365, and he's not fat. Can jump out the gym, runs a 5 flat 40. One of the strongest, most explosive guys I've been around, and the nicest guy ever until he puts on the helmet. When he puts on the helmet, he's a monster. It's like he's got an alter ego where he's a villain when he gets on the field. And I tell you, there's some pictures that have been that they've been releasing the Jets once a week when him coming down the tunnel. They're some of the most terrifying pictures I've ever seen. It's just you got this big dude that looks larger than life with bad intentions, and he's going out there and doing it every week. So again, I see the potential for a Christian Dirisaw to kind of be in that same light from Virginia Tech. He's a really good player. I think Panay Sewell also has the opportunity to be able to make some of those physical splash plays as well. I think Panay's just got to be a little more consistent with his technique. I think that there's some things he got away with in college he's not going to be able to get away with on Sundays. It's going to absolutely expose him that he's got to continue to work on. But I don't think this tackle class is as deep as last year, but I think the guard class is very good this year. I think you got some guys, much like last year at the tackle class, when you look at, your Becton and you look at, Andrew Thomas is starting to play better. When you look at your Jedrick Wills, when you look at your Christian Wirfs, those are all guys that we talked about like, hey, it's all ice cream pick which one you like, pick what flavor you like, because they're all eventually going to be good. I think you kind of saw that. You got that same compliment this year in a lot of ways with the guard position. When you look at a guy like Wyatt Davis out of Ohio State, when you look at a Trey Smith out of Tennessee, I mean, there's some guys out there that can absolutely get after you. When you look at an Ed Ingram out of LSU, you know, so
what about that Alabama
some of these
kid?
Things together.
Yeah, I was saying the
Which one?
Deontay
Brown?
Brown.
Deontay
Brown, that Brown kid. Yeah.
Big SOB. He reminds me in the mode. There's certain guys that can come in right away, and physically dominate. And the guy that kind of started this was Gabe Jackson and Larry Warford, you know, where they didn't look like plus athletes. They were just big, and they got after you. And then all of a sudden you had a Trey Turner that came right after them from LSU. And now you got a guy like who I worked with this past year, Damian Lewis, who's come in and from LSU and has started and has been very good for the Seahawks. Deontay Brown, in my opinion, is in that same mode where it's just like he's not going to have all those physical traits that you want, but he's just going to be a guy that's going to come in and be hard-nosed as hell at the guard position. Is going to give you some quality football real early.
Man, that's some good stuff.
Man, you got a wealth of knowledge over there with all of these guys. Hey, man, we're gonna definitely hit you up during draft season.
I was just about to say that.
Come on the draft show. You was already reading the damn thing. Come on the damn draft show.
We do
talk.
Hey, Duke, we do a legitimate draft show and draft build up. So we definitely want to hit you back up around draft time to try to get you on here, because that's when it's people are really going to be diving into these guys that you're talking about. I wrote these names down, and I will be looking into them for sure.
Man, we definitely will, man. We got a guy named Voch Lombardi, man, and he really, really loves offensive lineman talk, and his philosophy is draft for offensive linemen every year. Draft them, just find them and draft them. And I'm more of a defensive mind guy. I can't stand offense. Give me defense. I always tell people, man, think about it. The teams that have the best defense win Super Bowls. Defense win what, you know? But I feel what you're saying, and I love the continuity like you broke it down with the offensive line and offensive tackle. Man, I just can't wait to talk draft once the season is over with all the way.
Indeed.
Appreciate you for coming.
Man, it'll be here fast. It'll be here fast, man. I tell you what, November's already halfway over.
Yeah,
we're down the home stretch and the final stretch of the NFL season, man. This has been an unconventional year, and you know, I want to take some time to kind of go away from football and just talk about, like, you know, through a lot of uncertainty and uncharted times, like there's a couple of things that we got to do as a society. And that's one, in times of disruption and displacement, we gotta adapt, we gotta improvise, and then we always got to look forward. You know, we got to look at what the next plan is. You know, we got to make sure that we got a plan A, B, and C, because we can't afford to look back, you know, in times of displacement. And so my message to everybody is, no matter where you are, do the small things and lead where you are, man, because if we can all do our part to really adapt, innovate, and always look forward and kind of lead where we're at, like, we're going to all continue to get through this. And as we talked about earlier, return to whatever that new normal is going to be. But all of a sudden, you look at this year shot by with so much adversity.
Right.
And here we are, still with the great luxury of being able to talk about football we all love, but just lead where you are. And I think if we continue to do that, as you know, in our communities, in our neighborhoods, or whatever we want, you know, that's one thing that I continue to preach to, you know, all the players that I work with, you know, no matter where they may be. Hey, you know, make sure you're taking care of home base, make sure you're checking on people, make sure you're leading, make sure we're adapting, we're innovating, and we're looking forward. That way we can always go with the skid, you know, because the last thing you want to do, you know, you never want to lose control, man. When you when things start to skid out of control, when people get in trouble is they try to overcorrect the wheel, and that's when you spin out. So part of going with the skid is, as soon as you start to skid it, and then accelerate through that son of a gun, and we'll get through it.
Wow, that's dope. Excellent man. Words, I love analogies, man. That's
excellent words. Y'all hear that, y'all? This has been awesome, Duke. We really appreciate you, brother. Before we let you go, though, go ahead and let them know where they can find you once again and the things you have coming up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, special thanks to NFL Films and Carissa Thompson. They came down for our O-line Mastermind seminar and did a tremendous job of capturing the true essence of what the O-line Masterminds coming together as offensive line professional development, and even just Napoleon Hill's true mastermind principle of working as a collective effort in the same synergistic efforts to get something and commonly done. So they did a great job of capturing that. It was on Fox Sports 1 last week. It's on Twitter. It's on Facebook. It'll soon be on Instagram and soon be on YouTube. But catch it on November 23rd. That's a Monday night, I believe, at 8 p.m. Eastern, or maybe it's 8:15 Eastern. Check your local listings. NFL Films presents. I'm not clear if it's going to be the same episode that they showed last week, which the NFL Films present starts off with a mic'd up session of Phillip Rivers. Maybe it's going to be a different mic'd up session, and then it moves into a section about mental performance and the alter ego, and then our pieces on the last 15 minutes. I'm not sure what the NFL Network is going to do. It could be that the entire show is devoted to O-line masterminds on November 23rd. Just check your local listings, tune in, and that is really something that we're greatly proud about. You can follow me on Twitter at Big Duke 50, Instagram at the Big Duke 50. A lot of people have asked about these shirts on Twitter and Instagram. You can find this at strikeleverageDryFinish.com. So that's everything I really got going on. We got some Nike camps coming up and things of that nature that people have been excited about. But, I'm around. It's all O-line all year round, man. That's what I do.
If you want to be a smarter fan, you got to follow this guy. And this is no cap. He really knows what he's talking about, as you see, man. Appreciate you, Duke. Really do. Go ahead, Law.
Yeah, no. I'm just gonna say appreciate you, man. And you are locally in the Dallas metro area. Is that correct, or where are you located at?
Yes, sir. I'm here, and I live like on the border of Frisco, Plano.
Okay, so if we get some young prospects, man, I definitely reach out to them and send them your way, because there's a lot of people that want to know the art of the game, and I think that they can get a lot of value out of your content, man. I really appreciate you for jumping on to the show.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thanks for
definitely
having me,
appreciate you,
fellas.
Big Duke.
No problem.
Thank you for asking all our questions, and definitely going to ask you some more when this draft come up, and just appreciate all your wealth of knowledge. Your Facebook page, I like the breakdowns that you do with your videos. It's really good teaching, because I use some of those videos when I was teaching some of my football kids on the offensive line, because I really didn't know. So just some of the steps that you were doing with the offensive linemen helped me be able to try to implement that on the field. So I really appreciate that kind of teaching and knowledge, and keep it up. Big ups to you.
Indeed.
Appreciate you, bro.
Hey, chat.
No problem, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, brother. Stick around, chat. We are going to continue the show here in a quick second, but make sure you guys follow Big Duke everywhere on all platforms.
Yes, sir.
No problem, man. Thanks, fellas.
Take it easy.
Yes, indeed, that was good.
Woo, man, that was good. I'm already a smarter fan. I can't wait to actually go back and rewind this and listen to this and drop some of these nuggets on everybody. But man, Big Duke.
Yeah, man. Shoot, man, James, you asked some good questions, and Sky, you was right with it, man. Very, very, very informative show, man. Somebody with some brains to the situation as relates to talking about the offensive line, and we all knew that. Yeah, it takes time for the offensive line, especially to gain that information. But I like the way he broke it down to, like, hey, it takes 4 years for you to prepare yourself for the Olympics. So it might take 4 years for these guys to get their feet going, or you can see some things as it relates to their third year. So there's a lot of stuff, man, he brought to the table that I was like, man, good gems.
Y'all see the chat?
Yeah.
The chat love Duke.
Yeah, definitely. He was coming with that facts and knowledge, but I still ain't sold on Connor Williams.
He ain't even warmed into it yet. All right, look, before we go,
Duke
is the beast, and he know what he's in, but I ain't sold on that.
Before we get going, y'all. Before we get going, I missed y'all. It's been a minute since we kicked it with the chat with the LNH squad. We about to definitely roll through, but man, we just brought on a guy that is so knowledgeable at that position, man. And I'm not. This is more of a humble brag, but dog, the late night. You know what? I'm gonna just let my man say.
If you have not liked this, please like this. Go and share this.
Drop the fire emojis
we're
for
talking
Big
about pure commentator
share
right
and
here, y'all.
jump
You know
on
what I'm
his
saying?
Instagram page. Show him love. Jump on his Twitter feed. Show that brother love, and also let him know that you came from the late night hype. You know, you help us out because hey, you notice all of those deals he was mentioning. We're like, hey man, I want a piece of that Nike. I want a piece of NFL. You know, we can get that, right?
Man, listen, this is some great stuff, man. It's some great stuff. But no, let's go ahead and just jump right into it, James. You're not feeling it. You still not feeling Connor.
I ain't feeling that shit, dog. I mean, he the guy. He know it. I don't know. Like and I could totally be wrong, but I ain't feeling that. I ain't feeling the shit about Connor Williams. I ain't feeling that he gonna just continue to get better. And I know he only got thrown off one play, but it was a critical play. You feel me? I know, you know what I'm saying? In the last game against
it was
Pittsburgh. And I know he's only given up 2 sacks. Statistically, he's had a good year, and I think he hadn't given up sacks 5 games before. I don't know.
So basically,
know.
you acknowledge he's been better, right?
Yes, definitely.
But
he's been better.
I think where we're at with Connor Williams right now is kind of where we are, and tell me if I'm wrong here, Law, with Xavier Woods, where we accept X for what he is, and we kind of understand he's not going to push through that ceiling. Are we at that point with Connor Williams where okay, we accept what Connor Williams is, we don't think he's going to get any better, so move on, or just try to find a replacement and put him as a backup? Because it's a tricky situation. He's got 2 years left on his deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think they like him, and I think they don't want him to go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? I think they like him and want to probably. I think they're going to definitely offer him another contract.
Yeah, it's one of those.
I ain't excited about that. I'm sorry. I want a natural guard. When he was talking about Ron Leary, we knew that was the guard. We knew even when we drafted, even when Ron Leary got picked up as a free agent, I remember. I don't know shit about the offensive line, but I remember when we picked him up from Memphis, and I was like, ooh, I like this one. The only thing was let his knees. Don't let that knee degenerate. I heard it was a degenerate. Please, this last 3-4 years for us, I think you're going to be good. And what was he, fellas? He was that rock in the middle. He established that in the middle, and we know quarterbacks don't like that pressure up in the middle. They don't like that pressure up in the middle, and the rushing lanes, run blocking. He solidified a lot of that offensive line where we had the other guys. He was like the unsung hero. I'm sorry, Connor Williams ain't that dude to me.
No, he's definitely not that dude. I hope I hope that's not what he was trying to say. We just hoping that he gets a little better.
Yeah, he ain't that dude to me, dog. He ain't that Ron Leary dude, dog. You know you're not.
He definitely not Ron. Ron was a natural guard. He was a guard's guard, right? As they say.
And he said about Connor McGovern, he said he was his average. Like I said, he know more than me, but like I seen him working with them strong guys in Washington. That Washington front ain't no bums. And Connor McGovern wasn't getting moved like that.
But you know what happened with Connor McGovern?
He
didn't look like a guard. He just looked kind of frail out there.
He looked smaller, but they wasn't moving him.
I'll disagree.
Moving him.
He looked like a guard coming out of college. Connor Williams.
He looked big in college.
Connor Williams did not look like no damn guard. Period.
No.
Period. But when
McGovern
when McGovern got out there around other people, you're like, okay, smaller than I thought, but I knew he's a big boy. He plays like a big boy, and you saw that. You saw McGovern plays like a big boy. He can anchor very well. He's not as pretty as Connor, and he may not even be as talented in the sense of athletically. Because one thing Connor was heralded on with Texas, and you know this, James, that's your squad, is his athleticism at tackle.
Right.
McGovern was heralded for being a brawlicky Big Ten guy that could go up and down the line of scrimmage. You would never do that with Connor Williams. Although I think he played a little bit inside, but that wasn't his primary position.
Exactly. And you could even see when Connor played at tackle at Texas, that body frame. I didn't know how smaller Connor Williams was until I went to the actual game and I was down there on the field. And when I looked, I was like, damn, he's small. Like, you could noticeably see it. Even when he picked up the weight last year and I went to the game last year, yeah, he looked bigger, but he still looked smaller than all them other dudes. That's just, to me, his natural position. And as I said before, this is Connor McGovern's rookie year, fellas. This is his rookie year. He got absolutely no work, nothing. He touched no kind of work last year. So this is his rookie year. So I feel like if you're talking 4 years, give him some time. But in 2 games, one game he was okay. Second game, a lot better. You dealing with a good inside front. Let me see you work against these big boys, and then let's go from there. Because at the end of the day, you spent a 3rd-round pick on this dude. You got to figure out what you're going to do at that left guard position if you're thinking about adding another offensive lineman in the draft.
Yeah.
Man.
Hey, Akeem, Connor McGovern is not tiny for a guard.
No,
I think you're being a little bit,
But we were just saying opposed to when he's out there, he looks small, but he's still a big dude. You talking about Connor McGovern, right?
Right.
Yeah,
He's still a big dude.
McGovern
he's
is
not wide,
No.
but he's not no tiny. I mean, tiny for a guard.
He has natural strength, and like I said, we seen the all 22 fellas. I keep going back to that. I kept watching. I'm like, they're not moving him. He is moving. Allen, Deron Payne, them dudes is studs. Okay. Yeah. And he was moving. I was like, okay, running lanes was coming. He wasn't getting pushed back. Remember what Duke was talking about, getting pushed back? He was able to, when they did specific running plays, he was driving those guys out the ball. I just want to see more. Cowboys. If you want to see Terence Steele, can we see some Connor McGovern somewhere? Fit him in there, because I need to know.
Yeah.
And
then on top of that, strength is just different. Granddaddy used to always say, there's 2 type of people you don't want to fight big game, James and Sky. A person that lay sheetrock all day and a person that be up on them singles. You don't want to fight them regardless of their
natural
size.
strength.
You say, oh man, I can knock this dude down. Try to fight one of them. Yeah. Try to fight somebody that put them sheetrocks up all day and lay shingles, man. I guarantee you, as soon as you hear this, it's over with for you. Let me know in the chat box if I'm lying.
You ain't lying.
He ain't lying.
You ain't lying, because I almost got into a fight with one of them, and I thought about it right quick because I seen that arm, and I said, you got them on your back going up ladders all day, 10 hours, and I think I'm gonna swing and hit that. He like, come on, man, I eat them.
Man.
You can tell which motherfuckers is walking around here that don't lift, but they lift regular shit all day, because they got different kind of muscles. They cut up like a muscle. They cut. Them veins is different and everything. But when the dude go to the gym. But then I ain't gonna say what I want to say, but them dudes.
Yeah, you just look at me like he's
sometimes
strong.
It's country strong, sometimes it's city strong. Because in the city, in the country, they lifting bell, they lifting all that other stuff. In the city, they doing jobs for $25 that really would be $3,000. But you know where I'm going, right?
Something on the side. Old ass men that's like 57 years old. You like, don't mess with him. He's gonna hurt.
He gonna hurt you, young blood. He's strong. I've been fighting all my life.
Look at him, man. James beating him up, man.
Don't get tired.
Go over here.
Get over here.
And don't get tired.
That's what Connor McGovern got. I just think
that's
that he got that country strength.
I think he got that. Remember, y'all, his dad built him for this. His dad been training him since he was a children. He was a little children.
Oh man, hey,
late night hype, baby.
Yes, sir.
He was children.
Yo, real quick, hard pivot. I'm sorry, but there was some news that dropped in the chat throughout the show. DeAndre Baker signed with the Chiefs.
Oh, he trying with the Chiefs.
Help.
Signed with the Chiefs. Also, there was a report from JJT, Jean Jacques Taylor. The Cowboys are approaching Jalen Smith for a pay cut. I repeat, the Cowboys are approaching Jalen Smith for a pay cut. And according to JJT, if he doesn't agree, he could be cut.
Ooh, they gonna eat? They gonna eat money?
And that ain't going. Ooh.
Now it is Gene Jaquez Taylor, who is, he is who he is.
He's in the middle of the road though.
He know, but when he reports, we know JJT, but when he reports stuff like this, though, I believe it.
So
he had the one earring on when he did it. Oh, okay.
Did he have the hoop in? Was it in the right ear? Let me stop.
I'll tell you what, even if the report's not true, the fact that there is some rumors floating around, because usually when there's smoke, there's fire, even if it's a baby fire. Somebody in that organization is saying something about Jalen, and it's finally because there's Jalen stans.
Sean Lee.
No. You think Sean Lee's a Jalen stan? Oh, you saying?
No. I don't think Sean Lee like telling no.
Well, how was you silly? Now, see, y'all going on this Snake Lee shit. Y'all need to leave Sean Lee alone. Sean Lee ain't worried about nobody.
I want Sean Lee to be. Hey, I say I want Sean Lee to be our defensive coordinator, man. I love him. Just take them damn pants off.
There's the mess your heads up with that Snake Lee shit.
And just go coach.
But JJT is his name, right? And him. And that what's your name? Is it Clarence Hill? You got to be real
Clarence. I don't really mean
Clarence.
I ain't listening
his name is Clarence.
Clarence.
His mama name.
That damn Clarence, man.
That damn Clarence.
I'll be stroking. He don't get no love.
No, I don't pay him
Clarence
no damn mind.
He said you ain't gotta lie, Craig.
Clarence be faking the funk, fam.
I said, dog, man, you got the blue check mark and everything, man. I'm sitting there reposting this thing, man. People like, man, Law, he lying, Law. Don't repost it, man. They coming at me more than they coming at him.
Don't repost nothing Clarence say, dog.
I'm sitting here sweating like, damn, how can I delete this?
Y'all know I'm on
I don't know how to say his name,
right?
You better go through mass delete.
Listen.
Mass delete.
Remember on what's the Eddie Murphy joint with the fat when they was fat, the Clumps? Remember on the Clumps when Mama Clump was like, no, Cletus, come on, Cletus, no. That's how I feel about Clarence when he say dumb shit. No, Clarence, no. Come on, you got to see me after that report. Come on, Clarence.
Come on, Clarence.
Them damn reporters, don't listen to him. But JJT not far off. That's why I'm like.
Not far off, okay.
I believe if he's saying something like that, I believe that's some real stuff.
Yeah. I did the same thing, Rue. He spelled Clarence like it's on Clarence. That's how I spelled his name on Twitter one day. They roasted me for that shit. But
Clarence.
But let's kind of dive into the actual substance of it. Like Jalen Smith, pay cut or cut. I feel like he gonna end up taking a damn pay cut.
He is because he want that brand.
I know. Yeah. I
feel like he wants that brand, and
I hate to do this. I just don't know if I even want him on the team no more, James. Like I don't care for him unless he's gonna move full time to outside linebacker.
I feel you, Sky. But you know what they're going to still be thinking, Sky? And you know what this is just to me? I feel like Jerry going to hold on to that well because think about it, this was Jerry's guy.
Remember, we talked about Jerry's last episode.
And when Jerry pick a guy, they try to ride that out to the end. So he don't take the pay. If he takes the pay cut, they're still going to be like, we still got a good young linebacker in the fold, and they're going to look at that. But at the end of the day, the thing that just really disappoints me about Jalen, not that he battled back, it's just the mind. Have we noticed? And I hate to say it because I've been going off on Sean Lee. I've been going off on him. But guess what? That defense settled down when he got back where he could be back on the field and he could get his pads back on. That defense has settled down. That defense looks like it knows what it's doing now. And guess what? It ain't because of Jalen. It's because of Lee.
I think that. I also think getting rid of the older guys that weren't doing shit.
True story.
Like Poe just being in the way, Worley just being in the way, Everson just being in the way. You got Randy Gregory performing, Neville starting to step up. And also we can't forget LVE is back as well. So less pressure is on Jalen, but even with that, we see him still doing.
So let me ask y'all this question there: Who will have a better story when it's all said and done, Miles Jacks or Jalen?
His better career. The better story is always going to be
crazy injury, right? Both of them had that devastating injury.
No,
right?
No. Jalen's injury came from drop foot.
Yeah, Jalen's injury was way more devastating than Miles.
Yeah, nobody's ever come back.
Jalen wasn't supposed to be playing football.
Mm-hmm.
So the story is going to be Jalen, you know. But the career is probably going to be Miles Jack unless Jalen goes somewhere with a defensive coordinator that uses him as like a joker or a Leo type player or a wild card star, whatever you want to call that position. Because I don't think he's purely an inside linebacker, and right now he's not purely an outside linebacker. He's somebody you kind of got to move around, like a Rob Ninkovich. For the Patriots, I feel like he can be like the black version of Rob Ninkovich. For Bill Belichick. Let Bill Belichick get his hand on Jalen. Maybe he'll know how to use him a little better. But for what this defense wants to be, I don't care for Jalen. Not as a person, as a player, I don't care for him.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when you compare them to Miles Jack had the what's the surgery that Terry Glenn had, and then what's the guy that played? What's the defensive lineman where you have Anthony Spencer had it too, where you lose the cartilage?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I thought it was a horrible situation with Miles Jack. But it wasn't that horrible, huh?
No, because that's the injury he had, and that was a bad injury back in the day. But they advanced it enough to where it's
like
not
the ACL.
It's not a career-threatening injury. Drop foot is not ever.
You ain't supposed to play.
You ain't never supposed to play NFL football with drop foot. That is never. So that's why I give him props.
Was Miles Jack on the board when you picked up Jalen, or
yes,
he was already picked up?
Yes, Miles Jack.
He was on the board. Miles Jack, Noah Spence, Derrick Henry were the names that most of us were kind of thinking would be picked at that point in time, and then out of friggin' nowhere, Jalen Smith was the pick, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'll try to get behind this, And the story is great. It's a great story. I'm not saying Jalen is an awful player or anything like that, but Jalen has regressed. It is what it is.
He shouldn't have just been drafted that high. Let's keep it real. He shouldn't have been drafted that high. Other teams were not going to draft him that high. Jerry made the splash pick like he always does. And once again, Jerry ain't going to come out and say, I made a mistake. Maybe we shouldn't have did that. No, they're going to do it. And then let's say if he left the team, they'll wait 4 years and say, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have drafted Jalen. That's what they'll say 4 or 5 years later. They ain't going to say it a year later.
You see what Isaac Adams is saying, though. You see what Isaac Adams, he said that
what if he goes to another team?
It balls out like Cole Beasley.
Why are we using? But no one said Beasley was playing bad.
Right.
We always said Beasley was one of the best slot receivers in the league. Can you legitimately say right now Jalen Smith is one of the best linebackers in the league? And you bet not bring up tackles.
Yeah, don't do that. Because if you do that, just log off.
No, serious question. Can anyone say Jalen is one of the best linebackers at his position?
Say it.
No.
I want to see somebody say
it. Say it.
Go say it.
Say it with your chest.
Say it one more again.
Yes, he one of the best linebackers. Say it.
What Pinky was saying?
Say tackles one more again.
Pinky. He said my cousin, man.
He said say tackles one more.
Hey,
I gotta go watch that movie again.
I know.
That brother slipped on them
I'm about to go watch.
Yeah, y'all know I'll be quoting that. I quote that thing every show. Where was your antennas when I was getting my ass kicked? He said, what did he say? He said, when they said he was stealing, the brother was like, I'm appalled. He said, you ain't appalled. You a ninja that steal. Yo, man, that's my movie right there, brother.
About to look at that.
Yes, indeed. I gotta go rewatch that movie.
Indeed, man. Somebody said what you think about DeAndre Baker. Mr. DC Fitted, he signed with the
He
Chiefs.
Gone.
So
we ain't talking about him no more. We heard Jerry say, well, we're gonna look at all options. Signed. Shut the hell up, Jerry.
I can't even
Way too late.
No.
That, man.
We're gonna look at everything, Law. We're gonna look at And you know what? That Dorrance Armstrong Jr., he been playing some of the best football I seen in 10 weeks. Shut the hell up.
Hey, Scott,
tell
him what I sent you earlier, man.
Oh, Dorrance Armstrong. Listen, y'all ever see Life? One of my favorite movies. That's one of my favorite movies. Y'all know the character in there Can't Get Right.
Can't Get Right.
That's Dorrance Armstrong, fam.
That's Dorrance Armstrong.
That's Dorrance Armstrong. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to go no further. I'm going to just say he got a YouTube channel name now, and Law, gave me a nice good laugh. Can't Get Right. And it's funny because Gregory looked like Can't Get Right from that movie. Randy Gregory.
Yeah.
But he don't act like him.
Right.
Speaking of Randy, man, Randy turning it up, man. He ain't get the sacks, but he's starting to get his feet up under him, man.
He's looking good, dog. Like I've been talking about it. I'm sure maybe you guys probably mentioned it as well. Sign this dude to a 2-3 year deal now. Sign him now. Go ahead and lock him up. Sign him up now. Because imagine, fellas, if we could just see him 2 straight years on the field and missing no damn games, and he has no wear and tear on his body. With the small sample we've seen in 40 snaps, 5 pressures, 4 hurries, he's only going to continue to get better. That damn bend. We saw Sky even on the passing downs against Pittsburgh. They took Alden Smith off them passing downs and kept Randy Gregory in there.
Hey, here we go. Listen, I'm gonna make a bold statement here. I'm not
say it.
I'm not sold on Alden Smith.
I'm not sold on him coming back.
That's what I'm saying. Long term, y'all. I'm admiring what he's done at being out the league for 5 years.
But you're seeing it, aren't you?
But this last, what do we get? 7 games?
Mm-hmm.
These last 7 games to me is a super audition. Yeah. But I am sold. I mean, this could be hypocritical. I mean, I don't know. Y'all tell me. I am a little bit sold on Randy.
Ain't no hypocritical with that. It's different.
Yeah,
it's different.
Yeah.
Well, that Ben, he's younger. He's been with this organization more. I think he looked great against the run too lately. Like, I think he's gotten way stronger. No, he still has the bend, but he's playing more of like a complete defensive end. And I think he is versatile enough to stand up if you want to do the 3-4 thing.
He stood up at Nebraska.
Yeah. I'm just more ready. I'm ready to commit to Randy for 2 more years, as opposed to, because from what I'm hearing, Alden Smith, ching. And I just don't see him as that kind of player right now. Like, great story, a great reserve rusher, but my future, I ain't seen it to do that. This ain't week 1, 2, and 3. We in week 11 now. And
right. And I mean, you're looking at Alden Smith 3-4 years. I mean, what are you really paying him? You get what I'm saying? I want to know what the hell Seattle offered them. That's what the hell I want to know.
That's going to be the determinant.
That's what I want to know, what they were offering for Alden Smith.
I don't think it was high enough.
I need to know, though.
But we need to be able to reel and deal that thing a little bit better, because that defense is atrocious over there in Seattle land, right?
And Snack still ain't playing?
I'm not sure. But they did pick up was it who was the guy? Michael John? Not Michael. Who was the pass rusher? Dunlap.
Yeah.
Who's comparable to Alden Smith? And in reality, I think I would have wanted Dunlap more than Alden Smith, because Dunlap has been consistent.
Yeah, he's been good in the league.
He's been consistent, whereas Alden Smith, again, and this is not because I'm hating on him or nothing. He's been out the league for 5 years.
Hate.
Yeah. Right? He's been out the league for 5 years.
He's
bound to tail off. So I need to see if he can bounce back, because if he kind of continues to hover around then I'm going to go with Randy moving forward, and maybe find a rusher in the draft or free agency. But if you can get Alden back for the
Bradley and Nye.
There you go. I'm sorry, Bradley
and Nye. Can we get him some snaps? Jerry? Stop talking about Dorrance Armstrong Jr. and let Bradley and Nye, because I know it's hard. But at the end of the day, come on, dog.
Mm-hmm.
This is, if we look at the 2020 draft, we were talking about it the other day. You got most of your 2020 draft playing. You feel me? Yeah. The only ones that haven't had some significant time is Reggie Robinson and Bradley and Nye. The season's getting closer and closer. We ain't going nowhere. Play them 2 dudes so you can see what you have. You got your you got your guys heading to the future for next year. You need to see what you have in those 2 guys in particular, because they're playing critical positions for you that you're going to need.
Yeah, and they brought in Breland Speaks, and I know a lot of people, which is cool and all, but guess where he play? Right defensive end, So how you going to correct? You going to kick him inside? You going to try to experiment with that? And I saw majority of his snaps, he's not putting his hand in the dirt. So I think that more so than often that he's going to have to compete on that right defensive end. You definitely ain't going to flip him to the opposite side. I just don't think that we got so many people that we bringing in on the right defensive end, and Bradley and I like, hey, just give me a chance, man.
him
Let
and
me know if I'm wrong.
it's him and Reggie who are just kind of on the outs here. But I tell you what, this guy is not. This rookie here, Neville Gallimore, has stepped up on that
The Gala
defensive
monster.
line the last few games.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to go overboard, right? Because one of the things I said about the defense after the Eagles game, okay, it's the Eagles, right? Their offense has not been that great. Their quarterback has been trash. Let's see you do it against a 7-0 team whose offense has been pretty damn good. And you know, that's 2 weeks in a row that the defense and defensive line has been pretty decent to really good in the Steelers game. And we saw what the Steelers did the next week against the Bengals. They put up almost 40 burger on Cincinnati. So are we seeing these players kind of grasping Law and James, grasping Mike Nolan's system right in front of our eyes?
I think it's twofold.
Okay.
I think one of the situations, I think you brought it up, Sky, where they got rid of players. And that was unprecedented in my opinion, because if we had the last regime, they probably would have stayed. So they said, you know what, dead weight, Poe gotta go. I rhymed on that one. Poe gotta go. I didn't mean to do it. I'm being like Law. But now when we also saw that Gallimore, the Gala monster, he was from Canada. He was in position, played the wrong position at Oklahoma. He had to get his feet underneath him. And it's hard to do when you're a young player and you're only getting a few snaps here and there. If you make a mistake, they're going to take you out because you're a rookie. Now, when you have a Poe gone, you have to get this playing time. Also, Tristan Hill is hurt. So it's almost you're pushed to the forefront to make plays now. So now that you're pushed to the forefront to get that playing time, you have talent. Now we all know we've played the game. The more playing time you get and you have the talent, it just starts becoming natural to you. And we've seen how the natural ability is starting to show. And when he stuffed a couple of those run plays, the enthusiasm, that's what I love about him. It was infectious for the whole defense. Everybody was rallying around that. And that's a rookie. That's what gets you excited. And I like your boy from Natchez, from over there with Law Nation. Hamilton will come in there because he's a big body. He gives you a lot of energy. Antoine Woods is playing better because guess what? Poe's been gone. Antoine Woods said, I should be a starter. Now Poe's gone. He's playing better because now the defense is dependent on him. So I think it's a grasp of the scheme of Nolan, but I also think it's guys meshing with each other and getting more playing time.
Yeah.
How about you, Law?
I think that the Gala monster, yes, he's picking up the system. I think everybody is picking up the system and they performing well. And we just, like you said, we brought in the Breeley Speaks kid, and he fits more in the mold of this system, from my opinion. So hopefully down the line we can figure something out if he's able to be serviceable enough. But if I'm going into the 2021 draft, I'm trying to replace Justin Hamilton. I'm trying to replace Antoine Barbecue Woods. And I love Justin Hamilton, but because he's from my hometown, I like what he brings to the table. But
Ain't
I'm
about friendship, no.
It's not about friendships, and that let you know how Law think. I'm trying to replace. Look, my job, if I'm the coach down there, if I'm the defensive line coach, if I'm the secondary coach, my job is I'm going to tell him, hey, my job is to replace you. So how can you earn your grain of salt? Why tell me why I shouldn't draft a Jordan Davis, a Tyler Shelvin, or Marvin Wilson, or that kid from Alabama, the Christian, I forgot his last name, it's the tip of my tongue, from Alabama, big old boy, the interior guys. So that's what I'm looking at. How can I remove you out the paint and bring somebody else in that can figure this thing out?
You got to invest up there. I want to attack this here with Stevie. Stevie says the Steelers' offense has been bled this year, ranked towards the bottom of the most stats. This defense needs to face a legit offense until I believe they're turning the corner first. So, Stevie, it's not about this defense turning the corner. That's not what we're saying. What I'm saying here, I'm saying is the defense the last two games showing that they're grasping the defense, because we don't need to see them against a top offense, right? Because we know top offense is going to get busy, and this is not a good defense. It's still, we're just trying to see an okay defense. We saw this same defense perform terribly against bad offenses. We watched the Giants waltz into Dallas and move the ball up and down the field. If it wasn't for some missed down conversions or what have you, and missed field goals, They could have scored 30 points on their own. Now they scored 30 points because of the offensive pick 6, but that Giants offense is not that good, and they came in and worked us. They were at a historical pace to be one of the worst defense of all time. And they, granted, it's careless Carson, right? And they shut down that that Philly defense or offense for the most part. Now, they ran the ball pretty decently, but they absolutely demolished careless Carson. And then in Pittsburgh, they had lapses with Big Ben and towards the end and what have you with the touchdown or whatever. But to me, that was some improvement. They showed improvement. They absolutely stymied the Steelers front. Regardless of what you want to say about them, we were literally giving up the worst rushing defense of all time until we played the Steelers. So I think it's more so about are we seeing them grasping this defense as opposed to them turning the corner. Way too early to talk about them turning the corner. They've got to show consistency to see them turn the corner. But back-to-back games where the defense is kind of seems like they're getting the defensive scheme a little bit, maybe we're seeing something here, and hopefully that can carry over into 2021 because I think it's a lost cause now.
Scott, James, do you guys think that it will be probably too light if we work with Tristan Hill and Gallimore as the interior guys? Would that be too light, or we would just have a finesse front?
No, I like those two, but those two are our 3 techs. Get another one tech. Get a solid, dope one tech, and keep those two there.
And that's what it's so hard to explain to people that, but they look at it like, nah, Tristan Hill is that guy that can play one or what have you.
Not.
And he's not.
He's not at all.
Yeah, I'm on that. Until football completely changes, I still want a big guy in the middle. I'm not asking that big guy to play 90, 80, 70% of the snaps.
Right.
But if I can get me a 325, 330 pounder, I mean, porker, like you know what I mean? A one tech, hard to move.
And a dog,
push back.
though. You feel me? Not no guy that did stuff, an animal.
Right.
The guy that just comes in there and commands
type of dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
What's the cat from Washington that was beasting before he got hurt with Tampa? I wanted him. Not Washington. I'm sorry. That was another guy. Was it Utah? He went to Tampa last year.
Oh.
I know he got hurt.
Vita Vea.
Yes, Vita Vea. I wanted Vita Vea really bad.
Me too.
It's a guy like that in the middle, man.
Yes.
And then use right. And use Neville and Tristan as splitting the 3 techs.
And your pass rushing, because Tristan Hill to me is more of a pass rushing guy. He's a guy like the Malik Collins. Malik Collins was not a great run defender in my opinion, but Malik Collins can get after that sack. He can get in that backfield and he can cause chaos. He can get sacks. And I think that's what Tristan Hill offered. That's why I'm frustrated he got hurt, because I think he could have been the sack guy for a guy in the middle.
Yeah, I think that this draft and heading into 2021, and I'm not throwing any salt or shade at Garrett, but some of the Garrett guys will be gone, right?
A lot of them.
The new philosophy. Well, yeah, you're right. A lot of them will be gone, and we're gonna see what this defense is all about this weekend, because we will definitely see.
I'll go ahead. I was about to get there. That was the next thing I was going to bring.
Oh, that's the next thing on your mind. Okay, we
great segue.
If you want to talk about stopping the run, well, you got the best one in the game coming to town right now.
Hold on before you say something, Scott.
Yeah.
Big Game James, you are you gonna start Thielen? Adam Thielen? He's on your team.
Hell yeah, I'm starting him. I'm mad because Botch got Justin Jefferson, and I'm pissed because I feel like he's gonna go nutty.
But go ahead, Scott. No. Bench Adam Thielen. Bench him, Scott. I mean, Big Game James.
No, I'm not. You better go ahead on, Law. Don't about your business now. Go on about your business now, Law.
Go ahead, Scott.
No, I was just going to say we got Dalvin Cook coming to town.
And like I said, we got Dalvin Cook.
Well, we're not coming to town. We going to his town.
Right. And Justin Jefferson just got 8 catches for 135 against the Bears. And we have Diggs out. I know we got Cheeto back, but they got Thielen, they got Rudolph, they got Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook. I ain't scared of no damn Kirk Cousins, but at the end of the day, I still think, look, this is my opinion. With the same way we played against Pittsburgh, I feel like our defense can compete with these Minnesota Vikings, it's on our offense. Can we score points?
What gives you confidence that our defense can compete with the Vikings?
I think because we mentioned Randy Gregory, I think DeMarcus Lawrence is playing better. He's gotten healthy. He has been a force in the run game. We have Gallimore and Antoine Woods are playing better. Solid rotation. Justin Hamilton can sneak in there a few plays and maybe clog up the middle. I know it's a big blow for us losing Diggs, but I believe Cheeto coming back is a big help. Now, I am a little worried about the secondary, but I do like Sean Lee coming back. I think he's going to get more snaps. I think he settles down the linebacker position. That's really, really going to help us. And I think that's the biggest key. He's going to be able to see the keys as far as the offense goes, and I think that's really going to help us. I think we can stay in the game. And plus, I just feel Kirk Cousins is not the guy that I'm scared about that's just going to run up the offense on us. He makes mistakes. Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins. That's just what he is. Yeah. He's a goofy player to me. And since he's goofy like that, he going to keep us in the game. And if we can just score some points, I don't know. I know they're probably going to go back to Dalton. If we could just score some points, I think we can compete with the Vikings.
I can't believe you went that long.
Xavier Woods will have a chance. Xavier Woods will have the ball in his hands. Will he be able to hold on to the ball? I guarantee you, he will have a chance.
I can't believe that's it. That's it for me.
What else you want me to tell you?
I got the damn man on the screen, and you just completely ignored this dude as if he's just some regular ass running back now that's not doing shit out here on this
positives.
team.
You said
no. Oh, you're right. I did. I said, why do you think we can win? You're absolutely right.
I
will give you that. But I will say, y'all went this whole damn time. It did not. You said this is what you did, and then Dalvin Cook, and then and Jalen. You just rolled over Dalvin.
Hey, skirt.
No, why you got him on the screen and why you got him pointing?
I got him on the screen pointing with the one up because he's the best running back in the game right now.
Shoot, that boy.
I got a video dropping probably tomorrow about the key to the game, and it is absolutely to stop this man. Cousins be damn. Okay? That offense ain't running through Kirk Cousins. That offense is running through 33 and that offensive line who does something that this team struggles with, and that is catching these pulling guards and lead blockers because we are guessing. And when you guess and you got a lead blocker coming, right, or a pulling guard, all it takes is that split second. And Jalen's been giving a lot of teams a ton of split seconds. And all it's going to take is for him to be a split second, and that little inch, that man right there can take it for a mile. So I think for them to win, it starts and it stops with stopping 33 and not letting Cook. Pay attention to that tomorrow. Dropping tomorrow. I'm going to just leave it at that. That is the number one guy.
When we had Duke on earlier, and he was talking about, hey, if the running back can get to the second level,
Oh, he's amazing at that.
I said, man, that don't count for this guy, number 33. You got pointing because I seen the offensive line caved in on him. Caved in, pushed back on him. And the guy's so small and so tiny. Like you said, all he needed that slither. And he took that edge. That's all it literally said.
I hate to say it, man.
The Chicago Bears. He got up there. I said, dang.
I hate to say it because I've seen people say it. I seen a one PFF dude say it last year. And you know us Cowboy fans, we don't play about our guys. When you talk shit about Zeke before this year, what are you talking about? But I think he's better than Ezekiel Elliott.
That Cook.
I mean, there's quite a few backs that are better than Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah,
right
it's getting there.
Real.
It's at that point now, yeah.
I mean, it's sad because it's like nobody's ever trying to disrespect.
I'm not trying to
but when they say a spade is a spade, I don't know if that's the quote, but dog, it can't. When they show these, we all watch the all 22, dog. It ain't like we don't watch it. We watch it faithfully. We're seeing. It's like it's not all the blocking. I'm sorry, it's not. It's not all the blocking.
Big Game James, we grew up in an era where that was all we talked about was what? Running backs.
Right.
You know,
it was nothing but
especially-
about the running backs.
It was all about the running
It
back.
wasn't
Look.
quarterback back then.
It wasn't the quarter. It was the running back. So we knew how to evaluate what a running back should do, should see, because every week and every weekend we was talking about. We go all the way back when Emmitt Smith was running. Remember, and everybody was like Barry Foster. Remember Barry Foster? What's the other kid? That played for the Thurman Thomas. Remember Thurman Thomas? Thurman Thomas, Natron Means. You know, we go all the way
from
back.
San Diego.
Barry Sanders. You know,
Red
all
Taylors,
those boys.
all them guys.
Man, we
Yeah,
used
I
to
love
have
Fred.
to fight every day talking about, hey, if you remove the offensive line, Emmitt will still be able to do this, still be able to do that. And then, yes, he had the bevy of the big boys up front, but Emmitt still was Emmitt. But we had to go back and forth with people. And when we see this thing now, it's only so much that we can say.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. You know, and this is
I
no
mean,
knock
Tony
on him.
Pollard is doing thing with the same offensive line and getting more yards. Okay, I know he had the hamstring injury. I got it. But is it if your hamstring is healed and you do it again, then what is it then?
Yeah.
I don't think we tripping, Chris. Chris said we tripping. Tell me how we tripping to say that Cook is better. Here's the only thing you can argue at this point right now with Zeke being better than whoever the hell you want is as an all-around back because of the blocking situation, and he's okay at catching. He's not good. I don't consider
He's
him
not
good.
a pass catcher.
He's okay at catching, and then he's still a top runner. But as a pure running back, as running the football, I will take Dalvin Cook over Ezekiel Elliott all day right now. Not even just right now, probably the last 2 years. As purely running the rock, vision, acceleration, burst, quickness, breaking tackles, he is better than Ezekiel Elliott at all of those. Again, I don't want to give
breakaway
away.
ability.
He's taking
That's what I'm saying. The
He's taking
explosiveness,
he's
the
taking these
burst.
things to the house. He's taking these to the house.
And guess what, Big Game James and Law? He don't got 5 All-Pro linemen in front of him.
No, he
Right.
don't.
Now, what he does have is he has a Kubiak system, right? Kubiak system is very good. But I still seen Cook do things that our guy, unfortunately, is not, I don't want to say capable, but he's just, that's not him anymore.
He don't have the explosiveness.
Don't
Dog,
have
it's
the
real.
wiggle. He don't have-
Cook,
you know.
when Cook gets through that line, dog, it's to the house. And
And
we all know that.
He
when we
finishes
see
strong.
Ezekiel Elliott, we get excited now when we see 10 to 15-yard bursts. Okay, you know what I'm saying? But come on, dog. It's like after 2017, that was gone. And it's everybody think, oh, you just dogging Zeke. I'm tired of people dogging Cowboys players. No, it's not that. It's what we are watching and seeing, and it can't be the whole offensive line of why he is not producing. Because if it's just because the offensive line, then you shouldn't have paid him that money.
Dog, see, here we go. Here we go, James.
That's just
and
the
they don't want to
simple
have that
thing.
conversation.
You're going to get so much hate mail, James. They
Oh, you know.
I know. I don't care. You can hate me. You know what? I'm like Puff Daddy. You can hate me now, but I won't stop now.
Hey.
And I can't stop now. You can hate me now.
we talk about this ad nauseum on here. Y'all know how I feel about the whole signing,
my goodness,
signing the
man.
back thing. It's get your money, but I thought it was silly. But
Yeah, get your money. Nobody
nonetheless-
get your money.
nonetheless, because I think didn't Cook get paid?
Yeah, you did get paid.
So Cook got paid, and Law, you said something before. You said, or you posted something. The average time that a running back is the best running back in the league, right? Is if you go and look, it's usually like the best, like undoubtedly. Granted, you could argue at times with Zeke, but I think for us, we undoubtedly thought Ezekiel Elliott's the best running back for a 3 to 4 year period, right? Those things change. Think about it over the last 5 years with Le'Veon Bell, Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, Todd Gurley. We go back even further in the time where it was a ton of great backs, right? When we said the Fred Taylors and things like that, and Jerome Bettis's, those guys and Curtis Martins and things like that. There was a lot of really good backs that weren't. Those are Hall of Famers I'm sitting here naming, but they weren't labeled the best backs every single year. It kind of turned and turned, and then it kind of fell to being just solid to good backs, so above average, and eventually kind of retire. But right now, I think what we're seeing in the last half decade or so is that the best back changes very quickly, very rapidly. And
Todd Gurley is
seeing
the main one you want to talk about.
Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
or I forgot you just mentioned all of those running backs. How long Sean Alexander was out there?
About
as
2
well?
years,
Dog,
maybe 1 or
that's
2
the
years.
classic. He went from Super
Another
Bowl MVP to not having a job in 2 years. And let's say one more thing about this law. Alvin Kamara, he ain't doing nothing this year, and he just got paid. Christian McCaffrey just got paid,
thought Kamara
and
was
he
doing
is
well.
hurt.
Yeah.
So that's what we
Christian,
talk
yeah.
about. You paying all these running backs this money. No, hey, get y'all money. But that's why they say maybe you shouldn't do that because you just got paid a guaranteed contract. You're going to get those carries, and you've already been hurt. You just came back and you got hurt again. Availability is one of the reasons why they pay you that money too, which I give Zeke his props because he has been available.
For sure.
And Kamara's been used in a special way. I think
he's having a good year though. I think he's having a good year, James.
Yeah.
You think so? Russian?
All around, Kamara's doing pretty damn good.
Kamara, yeah. But I like the way they utilize him with Murray and Kamara. I like that.
That's the thing, James. He's not being used as a workhorse runner.
True story.
Right.
Yeah, he's receiving running back.
Exactly. He's splitting the running carries, but he's the primary receiving back, and he's explosive and he's scoring touchdowns, and he's having a solid year. But here's the thing: I can actually I don't like paying running backs. One of the few I could be like, I get it, is CMC, because I think he's an elite receiver and he's an elite running back as well, in a similar mode of how Le'Veon was. But the thing is with running backs is they are contingent on what's in front of them and what's around them. CMC, when he was playing very well. But it's a position where you get hurt a lot. So sinking in a lot of money to that position becomes a problem. Now we're seeing Zeke bear down a little bit, right? He's getting dinged up. He's been a warrior. He's been an absolute Iron Man. But it just is what it is. That position, I don't think, guys, and I could be wrong here, but I don't think we're going to see Emmitt Smith, Curtis Martin, type of longevity at the position. I mean, these guys rushed for 1,000 yards 10 years in a row. Who was another one? I think Edgerrin was similar to that. Edgerrin James, and other backs. I don't think we're going to see that anymore. So look around the league. You don't need a $90 million back. I hate that we just did this to Zeke, but it is what it is. It's real.
But shout out to Zeke, man. Shout out to him. We want him. We wish him nothing but the best, man. And that's just how it goes. And I got to mention this, even for the Eagles. I see some Eagle fans in here. Miles Sanders is a good running back. I think that he's a talented running back. It's just that the way y'all utilize him, it could be showcased a little bit more. But I think that those type of running backs, you got to figure out a way to utilize them as a combination piece, not as an end all be all. And that's what you was pretty much saying too as well, Scott.
Yeah. We I don't want to do this all the time. We just put the money in the wrong places. Dallas needs to learn from their mistakes. They made the right call on Murray, surprisingly. They made the right call on DeMarco Murray, and then I think maybe they felt bad about it because what happened in 2015.
No, I think they would have did the same thing to Zeke. I think the reason why they didn't offer Murray, just in my opinion, because he was 26 at the time that he was getting his contract and he was injury prone. And they were looking at, we're not sinking that money into you. And you're already 26. You've already been hurt. We're not going to pay you that money. And you saw how he had a couple decent years at Tennessee, but it fell off quickly. And I think they were looking at Zeke with that. You're only like 23. You're coming at us. You're only 23 going on 24. If they would have, and that's why I feel like Ezekiel Elliott was smart. He came at the Cowboys 2 years early because he probably knew they were going to lowball him. He probably knew they were going to let him run another year and get another year in your tread. And now we're going to lowball you in the numbers because now you got another year. Because just like Duke said, if he would have waited till now and he tried to get that contract now with that line, they'd have gave him nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we talked about that at the beginning of the year.
Right.
Somebody
you already hear it though. That's the name of business is what? You buy low and you sell high, right? So they're gonna look at this thing and they're gonna figure out a way to lowball you. But Ezekiel Elliott, man, shout out to was it Arsenal? Is his Rocky Arsenal?
They were smart.
Man, he needed to get
smart as hell.
He needed to cut him another $10 million check because
he was smart.
Rocky Arsenal was hell of a smart for doing that.
I think they saw. They went out and got Randall Cobb. Dak is looking different here. Oh, Kevin Moore's the OC. They fitting to throw this rock. Hey, come sit down, Zeke. Come sit down. Let's get this money now.
Mm-hmm.
Because
And it was smart. It was even smarter because remember we had talked to remember when we talked to George Aoka, how he was talking about how it was the Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah, with the pressure.
The mantra that was in the camp, and they felt the pressure. There was a lot of pressure. Remember, the players were saying there was a lot of pressure on the coaches with that period of time. So they were feeling like this is Super Bowl bust, so we cannot have Ezekiel Elliott sitting now when we feel like we can go far and deep in the playoffs. And that was an added pressure on them. But he was smart. He saw that. So that, like you said, great move by your agent to get your money. No hate on that. But probably not the smartest move by Cowboys management. They should have stood firm in the ground if we're talking about contracts go.
Ooh, you know what, James and Scott, you just hit me. Because everybody was talking about those first few games that we played nobody, right? Can you imagine if we would have went with Tony?
That's crazy. I'll bring it up to
for the first 3 weeks.
He would have went nutty.
And Ezekiel Elliott sitting on the bench or what have you, or sitting out or holding out. Can you imagine? Oh my goodness.
That was a smart thing to do. You know, they caved, man. They caved to the wrong person. And you know, it is what it is. I hate to do this every show, but we're at that point in the season where, you know, we're talking about the future. I saw on Twitter our guy Jesse Holly. He said he compared. I don't like the player comp, but I get where he's coming from. He compared Tony Pollard to Felix Jones. He basically said, I'm paraphrasing here, remember what happened? Everybody was clamoring for Felix, and we were because Julius was not the guy. And then Marion Barber was banged up. But where I'm getting at here. So he's basically saying that when we put Felix in, he wasn't that dude. So be careful with Tony Pollard. I get what he's saying because Tony is a comp back. He's a complimentary back. We don't know that he's a full-time type of guy. I don't like the player comp. I think that Tony's a better runner than Felix was, but I get they're both explosive and they're both cop backs and yada yada. But what do y'all think about that from Jesse Holly? I'll start with you, James.
Me personally, I liked Felix Jones. The problem I had with Felix Jones, he kept getting hurt. Because when Felix Jones got in the lineup and he got significant carries, he ran the ball good and he got good yards. My only thing was I always was staring at him to see when you're going to get hurt because you got hurt every other damn play. That was the biggest thing. So in that aspect, I don't go with that comp because I felt like when Felix Jones got the ball, he did run good and he got good yards. I saw him. His problems was his injury. So I see what Jesse Holly is saying, like, don't be so quick to just throw Ezekiel Elliott away, then you get a Tony Pollard and you're stuck. Well, I believe this. No hate. If we had Dak Prescott there and Tony Pollard was back there, I still think we win games because it's proven when Dak Prescott went out and we're shuffling quarterbacks and you got Ezekiel Elliott, we ain't. But I do think that if we had Dak right now and Zeke was and then Tony Pollard was the running back and Zeke was out all year, we would still win games.
Yeah, and trust me, I want us to get the Steven Jackson guy. Was it Steve Jackson? Was he on the board?
Lord. Yeah, we
traded our first round pick and got Julius in the second round.
Yeah. Oh, it was Julius. Okay. But neither here nor there. My thing is, what happened with Felix is he got fat. You remember?
Yeah.
Season? First he was looking like David Chappelle. And then all of a sudden, hey, trying to come out, who's that fat boy over there?
No, you ain't lying. He ain't lying.
Number 28. I said, who's that guy?
He ain't lying.
But
he look like Dave. They say I look like him, so I can't laugh.
but Felix Jones, he was doing some things for us though, low key. He was, you know, it's just that he got fat, man. I think that he was pressing and he was thinking too much. He changed his whole dynamics. But
he was always hurt too. He was always hurt, dog. He was always hurt.
And then he get hurt like Dez off of a kick return or pump return or something like that.
He had a game where I won't forget it. He had a game, I think it was the Arizona Cardinal game. He was running good, and then he hurt his foot, and that foot injury really messed him up.
For the rest,
I don't know. Yeah, I think it knocked him out the rest of the year, and after that, he was not the same. After that foot injury, he was not the same.
I never thought of Felix as a primary back either, though. He's a complimentary back, and I don't think you wanted to give him a workhorse stuff. And I don't know about that yet with Tony Pollard, but I understand it because he came from a school where he was a complimentary back. He's entering the league as a complimentary back. But what I want to say is that if you were to go with a guy like Tony Pollard, I wouldn't just go with Tony by himself. If you look around the league, you've got teams that have multiple backs. Look at San Fran. Granted, this year they're up and down. My man, they roll in about 4 backs. This is no joke. They have about 4 backs that have all produced very well. And Marcus Mosher dropped a gem on Twitter. I hope he runs with this bit each week. He's a huge running backs don't matter guy. And I'm not saying all that, but he's a huge running backs don't matter. But he posted like 6 running backs that you probably don't even know who the hell they are, who had extremely productive days or were supposed to be washed up or whatever. And he and it was like, wow, all these backs who are pretty much nobodies in this league have helped their teams win the ball game. Do you rely on these no-name backs? Not really, but you can complement them. Granted, generational quarterback, we sat there and watched it in Kansas City. And when you go and look at the Super Bowl, it wasn't the quarterback. It was those running backs, right? Yeah. And none of them are these elite guys. So me personally, I would never, ever build my team around a running back in today's game. Wouldn't do it. There's too many decent to good backs I can put together and have, because you don't need your running game to be special. Not in 2020. Right. You just need your run game to be a factor. And it doesn't always mean having 150 yards per game. If you can get your running back, like I think it was Cook, he had 96 yards last night. 96 yards. But they were good 96 yards.
Yeah, it was good.
And then
he had some call back too.
And some call back, right.
Yeah.
And then he can still bust some off. But nonetheless, my point is you don't need one back anymore in this league. Hell, while we're talking about Cook being the beast, Madison ain't no slouch.
Mm-hmm.
He comes in, he runs hard.
Madison ain't no slouch.
Madison, yeah.
Madison hurt us last year.
Yeah.
My thing is, though, I just wish they would split these guys better. But this organization has had a hard time utilizing multiple backs. They had a decent year doing it. When Murray had 1,800, people forget Randall had like 5 something. Joseph Randall was pretty solid. But other than that, JG struggled using 2 people. I agree with Stevie. I don't think Kellen Moore has a clue how to utilize the run game. So we're fighting that uphill battle with Kellen. But I do think you have a really damn good tandem in Zeke and Tony. Call me crazy, I think Zeke and Tony is better than Zeke. Hear what I said?
Damn, that's good. I like that. Say it again.
I think Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard is better than Zeke. Problem is, Ezekiel Elliott is getting paid $90 million, and we know this front office, and this is Cole Beasley. He said it. The front office does sometimes have a say in who gets the rock. It may not always be verbally, but it may be with the check, right? Yeah. And they paid Zeke. So he's getting that 80-20 split, where I think it should be closer to 55-45. I just do.
Yeah. I mean, you spitting truth, man. And just to go all the way back to the other point with Jesse Holly was saying.
Yeah.
Was Felix Jones drafted in the first round too?
Yes, 28.
Didn't that play?
20 something.
So that plays a major pivotal role with this front office too. You know how they do. We know how they do. They don't want to be wrong. And a lot of times when we talk like this, people think that we hate the Jones.
Montana's the Jones. Montana said we trashing Zeke. That's why I said I hate that we're just keeping it real. And sometimes Montana, I mean, you follow the show. Sometimes keeping it real is going to hurt some people's ears a little bit. You might not like what you're hearing, but we're not saying Zeke is some terrible back. It's just the reality of the league right now, man. You can't deny that. It is the reality of the league. You don't need that. And if they elected to split those carries, or not even just 50-50, but like I said, 55-45, 60-40, I think you'd have a more productive run game, even with the offense. Because again, Tony Pollard, he's making things happen.
When he gets some good significant carries, he shows, and that we need his explosiveness on the field. Now, Law, you said something about the Joneses right quick. I'm gonna have to jump in there on that one, okay? I don't love the Joneses. Okay, I don't hate you. I don't hate the Joneses.
Well, thanks, guys.
don't
Our
hate 'em.
stream will be cut off in the next 10 minutes.
I don't hate you Joneses, but I love my Cowboys. I don't love them Joneses all like that, dog.
Don't like your
You know what I'm
attitude.
saying? Yes, they got the Super Bowls, and Steven ain't did a bad as far as managing the cap and stuff. But dog, you know what I mean? A 78-year-old general manager that's still talking out the side of his neck. I'm not listening to that crap no more, dog.
I don't.
I'm not listening to none of your. Just be quiet. I'm not listening to that stuff. I don't hate you, but you ain't my. No, I'm not listening to the Joneses or anything they say to me. I love my Cowboys and I'm gonna rep them, and that's what we're gonna do. But I'm not listening to that stuff. GM, player person, I'm going to keep going back to that. These other teams, DeAndre Baker, yes, he probably looked at the Chiefs and said, I'm going to make that move. But they probably reached out to him like, hey, you just got them charges dropped. Come over here and holler at us. Not sitting in the media saying, yeah, we're going to look at everything while other teams are out there doing it. You out in the media still bumping your guns. Shut up.
Yeah, they good at talking. They do.
They good at talking.
I got mad at
Bumping
myself
them
last
guns.
week because I actually took a quote from Jerry and put it in my roundup. I don't ever do that. I don't ever really care for what Jerry has to say anymore. But we talked about the quarterback crazy, drafting a quarterback is crazy, yada, yada. But I'm with you, man. Like, I don't want to hear nothing he got to say no more. It was at a point where I was like, okay, I want to listen to Steven because I feel like Steven was the one saying the more kind of I can kind of guess what you're going to do. Well, the problem is that became entirely too normal. Now, the Cowboys are so obvious in what they want to do. They show their hand entirely too much because they talk too damn much.
Right.
They like the dude on First 48 that get the whole the lobster.
First 48.
You know what I mean? You put a lobster in front of Stephen
ain't
Jones
lying,
on First
dog.
48, he telling on the whole government.
Yeah, you're right.
Telling
dog.
everybody.
You're right.
Yeah. Big
No,
Game James
shut
is the
up.
one with the knife. You know,
That man was the one talking
because
shit.
well, how many
Damn,
they do too many episodes, and trust me, we like that as content creators. We like it because it gives us something to talk about. But as fans, we're sitting there like, come on,
Shut
Jerry.
up.
Because what
I
he
don't wanna
said
hear
this
that no
morning,
more, dog.
for example, what he said this morning, hey, the offense only put up yards because it what the defense allowed, you know?
I ain't
Basically,
try-
you're saying that the offense put
Jerry,
up
just
yards
shut-
only due to garbage time.
Just shut up, Jerry.
Just
Right.
shut up because if I'm Jerry Jones and if I've got Dak Prescott contract, I'm gonna tell the media, yes, Dak is my guy. Dak is my guy. Dak is my guy. But when I'm in the meeting room, like, how in the hell I can get around without paying this man $40 million?
But that's the
Brian, what he
thing, though. That's the thing, though, Law. He's our general manager.
Right.
That's the thing. He is out there saying this because he can speak on it because he's the general manager. I just seen Kansas City Chiefs general manager just get a raise. And when I looked at his background, I seen 4 years in scouting, 5 years in this in the scouting department, this and this. Jerry Jones, you just played for the Arkansas football team. Stephen Jones, where'd you scout? Where'd you do anything? You just born into this. Y'all just businessmen with money. I don't care. And as long as he is the general manager at 70, general manager, you're 78 and you're saying Dorrance Armstrong Jr. is playing good football after 10 weeks. I can't. I want you to shut the hell
Stop
up.
listening
Just
to him.
you sound stupid, dog. And you really think we're gonna believe that? And it pisses me off when we're all on Twitter, fellas. I'm sorry. When we're all on Twitter and we're talking about draft picks and this and that, it's hard for me to get excited when I still look at that right there. And this man is still saying dumb, stupid statements. This is our general manager who is picking our players, who has his hand. When we watch the war room and draft room, who is in there? Steven and Jerry. When I see other draft rooms, do I see owners in there sitting there chilling? No.
You're not
I'm sorry.
You're not happy with the drafting though?
I mean, the drafting this year, our drafts haven't been great. Our drafts haven't been great.
No, not everybody's every year is going to be great, but I feel like
2016 was our last good draft besides this one I
feel like
right
the
now.
Cowboys have done a solid enough job drafting. They're one of the better drafting teams in this league. But I don't think that's Jerry. That's my thing. I'm not pinning that on Jerry. Did we have a streak where we were super hot? Yes, but that was you're not going to sustain that forever. You're going to get those 2017 type years. And then last year was, we were like, it's kind of ugly. But now we're like, okay, Tristan Hill showed something. We like what Connor McGovern has. Tony Pollard is a find. So if you can get 3 guys out of there that can contribute, you got a decent draft. I'm not concerned about the drafting per se, because I do feel like they got a very reliable guy in Will McClay in their ear. And one thing that Broadus does say is that we could talk about Jerry, but he does listen to those guys and he takes what they have to say into consideration now. So it's what I'm worried about is the player personnel development and scouting. And guess whose job that is, James? Stephen Jones.
Yeah.
Like the pro player personnel scout. That bugs me because that is where we miss. Look at the free agency this year.
Break it down, Scott.
Look at it over the number of years. We don't hit on these guys when other organizations are hitting on trades. They're hitting on free agents, and we continue to strike out. I'm talking about completely swing and miss. And yes, okay, we get a decent year out of a what's his name last year from Miami? Robert Quinn. But what does he do for us long term? Absolutely nothing. So I consider
you let him go.
You hit a single. I don't even call that a home run, because you got other organizations making trades and getting long term investments out of what's the name? Aqib Talib, out of a Marcus Peters, out of a Darrell Revis, out of a Calais Campbell, out of a I could keep going. Fitzpatrick. I could keep going. These organizations make these moves, and they aren't from the draft. They're from making savvy pro player personnel decisions. That's what makes me nervous moving forward, is that we don't have a Will McClay in the pro player personnel department.
Ooh, Sky's hitting on all these.
And he won't. And also, he won't never get the title. And I don't care what he's doing behind the scenes. Titles do matter. That's why they have them. And I feel like he deserves that. If, like you said, Scott, I agree with you. Jerry does listen to him. I believe that, but I believe give this man a little more power. Just like you said, I'm really pissed off that Stephen Jones is the over director of player personnel, and you ain't put in no work nowhere. You ain't put in no work nowhere. You have no background to say anything. And like you said, we're suffering because of it. The free agency, you're cheap as hell. You don't want to make the moves, and you're always the first one to jump out there and say, we like what we have. I want to jump in that TV and fight you.
No, I wanted to fight him so bad after the fact that he said after the Eagles game, he said
Terence
Ben
Steele
DiNucci was fun to watch. And I sit there like, where was he fun to watch? And Sky hit on every point about, yes, we do draft solid, what have you, but we never bring in pieces to complement those draft pieces, those draft players. And what I'm talking about is complementary, is that, yes, Diggs played good for us this year, but we had no safety to complement him on the back end. And even if we do go out this year or the 2021 season and draft well again, people got to look, draft picks are always sexy. It's like having a new car. You're always going to feel good about the draft pick. But if you don't have the complementary piece to go with that, then there still would be growing pains. Were there growing pains with Diggs this year, Cowboy Nation? Big game, James and Scott? There was growing pains, but we can see that, this kid can ball, but he had to go through growing pains, just like Jeff Okuda. He's going through growing pains. He's not even starting for that particular team, but we know that he got value and potentials down the line. So what I want people to do is don't fall in love with the draft with all of these players, because the Joneses, you're falling right into their hand. They're going to be able to sell it. I guarantee you they're going to be able to sell this Breland Speak kid. He's going to be all over the headlines. First Take, Undisputed, Tupac and Biggie going to be talking about it. But that's just how it goes. Joneses sell Yellow Snow, and people are buying it. People are buying it so much that they say, hey, do you got that brown flavor? Do you got that brown kind this week?
You're making a great point in about them bigging up the draft, because they want you to understand that, hey, draft. It's all about draft. Is he even said it. We're not going to set the market, and we're not going to spend money on somebody else's free agent. We're not going to play good players great and okay players good. Remember, he said all that stuff. And he's selling you all that. It sounds good. But the bottom line is, most of these teams that have turned over their to being a good team from a bad team didn't just build through the draft. Yes, the core is built through the draft.
Yeah.
But they also bring in players via trade and via free agency. And if you look at the Super Bowl champions or the Super Bowl participants over the last 5 years, you have that at spades. So we need Dallas to be able to catch up. Okay, they caught up drafting. They caught up drafting over the last decade, about decade-ish, right? They caught up. Now they need to catch up in free agency, and they've been trying to catch up since free agency has been invented, and that's why the Cowboys don't have a damn Super Bowl. One of the reasons, Jerry, right? But speaking of not being able to manage the cap and manage free agency correctly, they just haven't, man. And trades, don't even get me started on that. I mean, we know the Roy Williams, right? We know the Galloway trades, right? These trades have been terrible.
And you know what else, Guy? I'm going to say this. I think what pisses me off about this, it's like if they feel like they made one wrong move, they get gun shy as hell, especially Steven. He get gun shy as a mother sucker.
How about this?
Oh, I made a mistake. I'm gun shy. Well, let's go. And I don't want to do that again because we messed up on that one. We don't want to happen again. So let's go cheap.
Now, how about this, James? How about this? Not when they make one wrong move. When he makes one right move. Really good move.
Oh, yeah.
Amari Cooper. This dude, Steven Jones.
Look what I did. And I told my daddy not to draft Johnny Manziel, and he drafted Zach Morton.
Listen.
Look, I'm the executive of the year.
Do it again.
Look what I did. I'm great.
You hear what
Man, shut the hell up.
you heard what Steven Jones said during the 2019 draft? He was like, I'm not worried about watching the first round. I'm going to be watching the Amari Cooper tape.
Oh, my God, Sky. You're just
what kind of shit is that? Listen, bro, you should be watching because if somebody fall down there, maybe you jump up and you go get him instead of, I don't know what I don't want to say, but I want to say I say it off air. But Steven was doing a whole lot of, on himself because, dog, you made one goddamn good move out of necessity.
Smelt his stuff.
By the way, after you putting yourself in the damn hole, you put yourself in that hole to make that move. I'm not giving you props for that. That's like if my kid come down here right now.
That's why I mess with Sky.
And knock down my camera and then pick it up and say, "See, Daddy, I picked it up." No, Ninja, you knocked it down. I'm pissed off. Now I got to go buy a new camera because it's broke. Now, Steven, I got to go waste the first round pick because you thought it was a good idea to go with wide receiver by committee. I'm not giving you props.
Right.
Get the hell out of here, dog.
Right. 100, Sky. 100.
And not
even get on my nerves,
No, 1 million. Especially when you talk about when he was all in the media talking about, we're gonna watch the Raiders, see how they do with their pick. We got shut your ass up and sit down.
I'm gonna be watching Cooper take like what the dog,
bro. You sounded stupid when he said, "I said, man, this dude, you are so whack." And I actually think you fooled me. You bamboozled me.
You fooled me, James.
Hoodwinked me.
You
bamboozled me.
And then this year he come out and said about the TJ Watt that he regret. I said, Lord.
After 3 years, I said, yep, that's typical.
We regretted that day.
And now you're going to say 3 years later he did it when it was safe, fellas. Is it safe now to come out and admit we was wrong? Is it safe to come out? Is it safe to come out and say we was wrong? Oh, yeah, 3 years later, they done forgot about it. Yeah, we messed up.
Let me tell you something. That draft has literally changed the way I invest myself into players now. It truly does. Because my goddamn heart was set on TJ Watt around
me too.
Around about 18, 19. I'm like, yo.
Yeah, I was like,
TJ Watt. Like my heart was, and I like TJ Watt. That was the pick. I said TJ Watt's gonna be our pick type thing. We needed a defense end. I like TJ Watt. Like his traits. Yeah, he only played 1 year. Yada yada. TJ Watt. Never again.
TJ Watt.
Am I ever set? And I probably should have been doing this, but I kind of got more into the draft over the last 7-8 years. And that last year, 2017 was that's it. That's it. I'm not attaching myself to none of these dudes. I'll study them. I'll evaluate them. Cheer them. Good job getting drafted by your team. Whoever gets drafted by the Cowboys, hope you do well. But I'm not. That's it. The fact they took Taco Charlton, dog, that was the last straw for me.
Dog. And they sold it too. They sold it because they was having Taco Tuesday. They had American advertisement, T-shirts.
They sold the hell out of that. They sold the hell out of that pick.
Yeah, man.
They some great business, man. You can't doubt. You can't.
That's what I'm saying.
You can't say nothing against that dog. But
Shout out to
bruh,
y'all in the
I
chat.
don't care. They can. Man, just leave me alone.
Off air, so we don't get kicked off. I'm surprised we lasted this long. If y'all are avid followers of the late night hype, y'all know damn well every time we mention one of their names, there'd be some weird glitching going on. There'd be some weird shit happening.
Sound going bad. Hey, where'd your mic go, Sky? Where'd Sky go?
Exactly. Yo, we've been firing off on this real quick. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm gonna give y'all 5 minutes of rapid fire. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Rapid fire.
You better make sure it's 5, Sky.
I got the timer going right now.
Okay.
Where we at here? Okay. 20. Rapid fire. So in the chat, I need hashtag LNH with your question, and I will try to keep up as best I can. And I'm gonna fire these at the guys. I'll try to chime in if I can get one in there. But we're gonna do a rapid fire to end this thing. Let me see if I can get some music going in here. Let me see if I got something popping.
Yeah, you got the ops.
Shout out to Sheila. I see you.
Oh, Sheila.
Let
me see.
Shout out to Miss Scouting Pro. I see you. Shout out to you, Jessica.
What's
Shout
up,
him out, shout
Scouting
him out.
Pro? Salutes to you.
These nooses. Shout out to you, man.
These nooses.
Oh, we got some LNH questions up in there.
Yeah.
Not yet. I just
Drop
got some
'em,
granny
drop 'em.
hips.
Granny hips.
Granny hips.
Tyrone Crawford, Mr. Glass hips. Yep.
No, he stole by 40 mil, right?
Hey, but
All
hey,
right.
Granny hips had the big block and the big strip sack fumble.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff on the track. Hey.
Okay,
You say here, who would you start at O-line right now to keep our quarterback alive? Who would you start at offensive line? James, go.
Biadish, Martin, Connor Williams, only because I ain't seen McGovern. Cam Irving and Brandon Knight. Brandon Knight, right tackle, right guard, Martin, center Biadish, left guard, Williams, left tackle, Cam Irving.
Ditto for me.
All right. Let me get that same order of importance there, but let me switch it around. Give me Connor McGovern at Zach Martin's spot, and I'm the coach, and I'm saying, Zach Martin, you playing right tackle.
I feel that too. I ain't mad.
Okay, we're going to move on to Eddie B on it. Does Jerry finally do right by Dak? Go, James.
Damn.
Put that lipstick on that pig.
I can't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't answer that because I don't trust the Joneses. I'm 50-50 on that. I don't believe Dak is coming back 100%.
Are they going to do right by him? Right now, I'm gonna say yes because that's what they're talking, right? But ask me again in 6 months, or whatever it is, 4 months, or whatever.
What's
James,
up, Law?
I can tell you that they're gonna be. He always listen to the interview. He be like, He's gonna be saying that, but he said Trevor or Justin just too good rate of a talent to pass up, and we got a 5-year contract with them, opposed to paying a person $40 million. Watch, they gonna do something like that, and I want that Prescott to get his bread, but I cannot fall into the trap of believing into the Joneses. They're gonna have to prove me wrong on this one, because when Dak Prescott was available for $22 million, I will never forget it. And they kept on saying, and I said, okay.
All right, Jarrett Rees Allen. Yes or no question here. Kellen Moore, is he the answer at offensive coordinator? I'm not seeing a lot of creativity.
Yes.
Is he the answer?
I'm
James
good with
says yes. I'm going to say
cool
no right now. What about you, Law?
Is medium well. I think that Kellen Moore, we won't see him really till year 4, and this is year 2, so let that sink in.
Yeah, he's young. So if I'm saying I want to stick with him till he gets, to his peak, sure, I think he's got potential. But if I can upgrade, I think you can upgrade. I don't think he has a very good running plan.
But they gave Garrett 10 years, so they're going to give him.
I hope not. Eric Mack says, late night hype, is a tight end and free agency option, or are we only drafting tight ends? I'll start this one. I don't think we need to do anything with tight end. Jarwin coming back next year, and Dalton Schultz showed he's a capable tight end. Go ahead, James.
I'm gonna keep it real. Dalton Schultz has proved to be a solid number 2 tight end, but I'm still looking in the draft to replace him.
Man, if that Kyle Pitts guy falls right into our
No, you better not.
lap.
I'm touching damn music off.
Kyle Pitts, baby. No, I'm just playing.
If you
I think
drafted
that they're
damn
gonna
Kyle
play-
Pitts in the first round, Law, I'm gonna be pissed.
Maybe I'm gonna pull the Bosch Lombardi. Maybe they found a gun under the seat and he falls into the second or the third round.
All right, back to the music.
Go ahead.
Oh, Steve Jones, trade down and get what with the first pick? I mean, that's all subjective. We don't know the prospects right now.
Yeah,
I can't tell you.
Ask us that some weeks later.
A couple months. Okay, Iceberg Q. Late night hype. Cut Jalen, draft a linebacker in the first. James? Cut Jalen, draft a linebacker in the first.
I really don't like drafting linebackers in that first round. He had to be highly rated.
When Law hit you with the
No, that's a good one.
okay, I'll say I would say yes.
Do that.
I would cut
Yes.
Jalen, but I would not draft a linebacker in the first unless it's
I don't
Mike
wanna
Parsons
draft
and you
a
trade
linebacker
down
in
and
the
you got like
first
7
round.
extra picks.
Yeah. Cut Jalen and get a whole bunch of picks.
Cut Jalen, trade down with Michael Parsons.
We're
I'm
gonna
not mad at it.
Yeah, we're gonna get Jabril Cox in like the third round or something. He's gonna fall somehow. I can't play it.
Montana, late night hype. Who will be the quarterback? Andy Dalton, unfortunately.
Yeah, Andy Dalton. It should be Gigi because Andy Dalton ain't gonna be with us next year. You got to see what happened to backup.
Late night hype. Who's the next defensive coordinator, Law?
He's on
John
the
Lee.
team. No, he's gonna be the what's the guy name from the Minnesota Vikings? He's the coach now.
George Edwards. I like that.
Yeah, George Edwards. Yeah,
I'll
he's
roll
gonna
with
be
you.
our next defensive coordinator. Watch.
I don't know if he'll
Sean
be.
Lee.
I don't know if he will be, but I like that, so I'll roll with you.
I'm
Sean
saying
Lee.
Sean Lee.
I would love it. Our guy Jamie says, late night hype. Do Cowboys trade Cooper? I don't think so. They're not good at this. They're not good
They're
at
not
trading
good.
guys like that.
They're not good at trading it, but if they definitely should look at it if somebody start offering some firsts or maybe a high second.
They suck at it.
We like our guys.
They suck at it. Mark Anthony, late night hype. Do y'all like Nick Bolton, linebacker from Missouri? I'm sorry, I didn't mean. I don't know all the prospects.
Don't
right
ask
now.
us
I
that
didn't-
yet. I
Sorry,
ain't ready
Mark
to ask
Anthony.
Law.
We not all the way there. That's
We're
something
not
maybe
all the way
Vach.
there, so we ain't lying to kick it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay, Jared. I'm trying to get. I see you, Jared, but I'm trying to get other people. Wink. Should Connor Williams be backup center after Looney? Contract expires at the end of the season. McGovern moved to left guard. Should Connor Williams be the backup at center after Looney's contract expires? I don't know that I've seen anything that says Connor Williams could be a good center just yet.
I'm going to say
move
that should be
McGovern.
looked into. Only reason why
I'd
is
rather
because
tackle.
remember when we had Brian brought us on the show, he mentioned that Connor Williams wanted to play center.
He
mentioned that he
The fact
wanted
that he
to
wanted
play
to and
center.
they don't even put him there
and
tells
they
me
didn't put him there.
that he must
But he
not be
took some
good at it.
snaps. Brian brought us say he took some snaps under center. He said he would be willing to go to center. So I would definitely say look into that if you can get Connor McGovern at left guard. Yeah.
Is it, guys?
But he's
it-
not going to do it because he's a second round pick and he needs to play because we know how that goes.
That by Dez has got it,
Guys, if people in the chat, let me know if that music was okay. I'm gonna play this one on the way out here. For real, because sometimes it be going in and out, and I can't tell if it's working or not. So they gotta let me know.
Hey, Sky.
Yeah.
I just got one question. My dog, the Ninja, he gave a $5 holler on the response.
Shout out to you, Ninja.
I didn't interrupt your rapid fire. But this is a question for all of us. What is everyone's opinion of the rookie class so far?
I mean, I think me and Scott did it last week, but I'll go at it again. I think that Lamb is a dog when he had Dak
Just give me a
Prescott
grade.
throwing the
Give me
ball.
a grade.
Oh, grade.
So far.
Lamb. Oh, you talking about individuals
Overall.
or complete?
I go B plus.
B flat.
I go B
flat.
plus because we're seeing Neville Gallimore come on. So you already got your stud in Diggs, you got your stud in Lamb, and you possibly, if you can get a really good player in Neville in the third, you're good. Whatever else happens is gravy.
Right.
So I'll give it a B plus.
I say solid B here too.
Great question. Great question.
And I would be pissed off, excuse me, if Reggie Robinson get out there and he catches like 2 or 3 interceptions.
Oh, my God.
I'll be mad.
I'm driving to Dallas, slapping fools.
All right, last question. This is a fun one here. Late night hype from King Marquise. we're not King, yeah, King Marquise. Can we get Brian Broaddus at right tackle over turnstiles? Yo, it's wild.
Oh my goodness.
Old Brian Broaddus at right tackle. Shit, man. Hey,
I don't know. Let's try it.
all right, let's.
Broaddus done lost weight now, dog.
I know he don't got that big boy weight no more.
He ain't offensive lineman no more.
All right, man. Salutations, Law James. Before we get out of here, I want to get out of here on this beat. I love this song.
All right, I'm just gonna say, hey, appreciate everybody, appreciate all the mods, appreciate everybody that was in the chats, appreciate all the donations, appreciate all the love you guys showed, the questions, the donation. Hey ho, you feel me? We love that, man, and we just love you guys for banging with us, rocking with us. Check me out on Big Game James, Silver and Blue Nation. You know where I'm at. I don't need to keep saying it. You watched enough. You should already damn know by now. Holla at you, Law. Love you.
Yes, indeed. And if you don't know us by now, it's too much fun. But Cowboy Nation, don't forget to hit that like button, share, subscribe.
Drop them
and
5
reach
emojis.
out. Yeah, drop that fire and reach out to Duke. Man, he held it down for us, gave us some great information for the nation.
Yes,
and on top of that, grade the show. Leave us the grade down below. I love feedback.
Yes.
I better see some A's out there.
Yeah, if there's an F in there, you're banned.
And be real too.
Grade us, baby.
Be real too, yeah. And shout out to all the donations across all channels. Shout out to all the subscribers. If you aren't subscribed, what you waiting for, dog?
What you waiting for, man?
What my man say? It's the late night hype. We get this Duke and them guys on here, man. Y'all can find me on Twitter at Skywalker Still, YouTube, Dallas Cowboys Network, and make sure before we go, I want to get my guy plugged in here too. Cowboys Network all over the place. I got actual like a little commercial for him. Hold on, let me get the commercial.
Yeah, play the commercial.
Yeah. Make sure y'all subscribe to all his stuff on Facebook. That page is growing, about 10K already. And on our YouTube channel here, Dallas Cowboys Network, as well as Twitter, the Cowboys Net, where he drops all the nuggets, y'all. So make sure y'all check
nuggets. And we ain't talking
out.
Chicken.
No. So yeah, drop them fire emojis, man, as we head on up out of here. Keep rocking with us. We will be live again this Sunday versus the Vikings. Can we stop Cook from cooking? We're gonna see. Shout out to you, nation. Love you. Shout out to the My Guys too. Peace.